Hi, we are JKwan, a new podcast of views from foreigners based in Japan, focusing on worldwide racial and systematic inequalities and disparities, language, music, the arts, and culture. Created by everyday people for everyday people.
All right. Hey Jay, what's up?
Hey, how you
Hey,
doing?
very good, very good. Yeah, nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Yeah, how was your
All
month?
right.
How was your last week?
Yeah, it's fine. Like, the state of emergency lifted in Tokyo,
Mm,
but like the
wow.
cases are still high. They're
Yeah,
still going up.
right. It went down and then it went back up, right?
Yeah.
And it's still going up. So I don't even understand what's going
It's
on.
so confusing because then, the government is still asking for restaurants to restrict their business hours about the same time as during the lockdown.
Hmm.
So, what's the difference? But they still lifted the state of emergency. I don't know. It's just
It doesn't. It
confusing.
doesn't. It doesn't make sense. Osaka also is still surging as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people think. I went out the few times that I do go out, and there's people not wearing their masks. I don't know whether you've seen.
Yeah, that's not good.
They're not wearing.
Yeah.
There's loads of people. I mean, there's
Loads of
people
people really.
not wearing masks.
Really.
Because for some reason I think they think it's okay, but it's still not okay. And so
Okay.
and they all go to, because now it's why it's cherry blossom time, right? And they
Right.
still go out with the picnics and go to the castles and have their little group of stuff. And this is
Yeah.
surgeon, and everybody's going, it's a restaurant. I'm like going, no, they're all going to
Yeah.
Blossom View, and they're doing that picnic stuff, and there's all groups of people,
Right. Yeah.
right? Because that's exactly what it is. And I just think they should just wait until everybody's been vaccinated before they even stop the lockdown, the
Mm.
state of emergency, because we don't really have a lockdown, do we? It's against the law. So we have a state of emergency, right? So I think that they should um wait until at least most of the country has been vaccinated before they take down
Right.
the state of emergency. I mean, England's doing pretty well because I think that's what
Not the
they've been
vaccine.
doing. They're waiting until a lot of people have had it, and then they're taking the state of, well, the lockdown little by little, right? They're doing it like month by month or 2 monthly. And it's just like, let's see how it happens. If it surges again, then we can. Japan is not doing that. And I understand that Japan is nowhere near what England and America has, but they could pretty much get there.
Right. Exactly.
Are not taking this seriously.
Here's a question. I came across like a discussion online. There was one person who was in like a supermarket and they saw another, like a family or a couple, not wearing masks. And then they kind of scolded them in public and they said you should wear a mask and stuff. And then people were kind of like divided between whether or not that was something that was okay to do, to like publicly reprimand or like say something to someone like that in public space. Some people are saying like you don't have no right to tell people to wear masks and to restrict their breathing. So I don't know. I was wondering what you thought. Like
I don't say anything. I understand that. I don't say anything.
Yeah.
If it was a policy in the government to say that you all have to wear a mask, then I would say something. But it's not a policy. But I do give looks.
Give me your look. Show me your look.
And I exaggerate, like moving away from them. Like, if I'm riding my bicycle, I kind of go like this, like really, and look at them, like, and give them like a, I'll give them a look. But I don't say anything because I don't think it's my right to. I understand.
Okay.
But in the same breath, I understand that person, because when you're wearing a mask, you're not only protecting yourself, you're protecting other people too. All right. So, and if a shop says that you should be wearing a mask, most shops says this now in Japan, you should be wearing a mask, then the shop staff is not doing their job, and that person has to do the job for the shop staff. So I'm on the fence.
How about just like in public outside?
I don't
No,
say anything. I just side eye.
Okay.
Yeah, I just side eye.
Give me your stare.
No, no. What do you do? What do you do?
My stare? My stare
do
would
you
be
stare
like,
at people? Or, I mean, what do you do when you see someone not wearing a mask?
I mean, I don't say anything in public, but
Mhm.
if it was like, yeah, if like my friends, like people I know, then I would say something. But
Yeah, but I want to know
I don't say anything.
what do you do? I mean,
Oh, what the
but I do give I give a look of disgust because Japanese people they know how to. I say we. I come Japanese. I use the Japanese way because Japanese people don't usually say anything, but they give you a look to let you know that that's not right. All right, Japanese people give you a look when they give you a look, right? It's a customary look where they look at you like this, and you know that, oh shit, well, I'm breaking the custom, right? And so that's why they're non-verbal, right, in Japan. So was that a Japanese person that said something to another Japanese person, or was it a foreigner?
I think in the article it was like a foreigner saying something.
Okay.
To
So Japanese people are usually non-verbal. They use their eyes or a kind of way to let people feel embarrassed, right?
Yeah.
Right. So also they do that next thing where they go, and that means what the hell are you doing, right? Or crazy. They do that next thing. So I do that too, right? Because you know what I mean, right? When you use them to a Japanese person and they non-verbal, but they do that thing, and you know what it means, right?
Yeah. But one thing that
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Have you ever had that done to you?
The non-verbal thing, like actually I'm so glad you brought this up because like one thing that kind of when I don't like it is let's say like I'm in front of someone and they want to, I'm blocking their way, but I don't know that I'm blocking their way. They would just stand behind me and just wait and not say anything. Right? Whereas like, like back home I'd be like, excuse me, can I
but that's
come through?
Right? We have to remember
right.
When in Rome, do as the Romans do, and that's their custom. I don't have a problem with that, but I have a problem when they come in front of me and walk slow, and then I actually say something. I'm verbal. It's like I'm walking, and then they come past me. They don't touch me or anything, but they come in directly in front of me and slow down, and go not at my pace. Right? They speed up and come in front of me, and I go, if you're gonna walk in front of me, you better speed up because I am playing. I usually run.
After you say that.
I don't understand what that's about. That don't make any sense to me.
I'm playing.
Right? No, why would you come in front of me and slow down? Like they speed up to walk in front of me and then they slow their walk down. And my walk is not slowed, and I'm not walking slow behind them, but they're walking fast. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And then they slow their walk. And I've never really got that. So I say something. Yeah, I don't
Oh my gosh.
I don't understand that at all. So I do say something and they usually run away, or they speed up, or they go see my son and let me get past because it doesn't make sense to me.
Nah, yeah, it doesn't make sense either. That's funny though. I can't imagine that.
So I get mad and I do speak in patois. I'm not gonna
All right.
I don't know if that's a custom thing, but I don't know. I can't imagine that being. Why would you do that though? Why? What would that? I understand that Japanese people waiting behind you. I understand that being a custom thing because they don't want a confrontation, right? But doing that directly come in front of you and then slow down, that's asking for confrontation, right?
Yeah. Okay, maybe one more thing. Sometimes I go to the park to like exercise. So I bring my my iPhone and I watch like an exercise video, right? And I'm like doing exercise, right? People walk in front of me and my speaker and my phone.
Are you kidding me?
And this is like a big park. There's like plenty of space. Very few people. Very few people.
I want to see what you do.
Very few people. I mind you. They are walking in front of my speaker, my all my things, and me in my video. And
you know why I'm laughing? because
There's so much space.
When I went, I know many years ago, and I came to Japan, because I don't understand some certain things. I mean, I guess in England it's probably the same thing too, and where you're from it's probably the same thing. We do things that people said. So I would stop outside a shop window and just look, and I go to my friend, wait. Stop.
Wow.
I didn't never got that because they're not my friends. I don't know them. I'll be like going.
Oh, you're looking at. Yeah, it's funny.
I've never done that. You know, maybe I need to try that in England, see if that happens. I've never, because I noticed it here. But
just like wide eyes, just like.
If I do in England, if that would happen, I wonder if I do in England, if that would happen. So I can't say I can't just say it's a Japanese thing because I've never done it in England. I've stopped and looked in the shop window, but there's nobody behind me. It's like, you know, they're not behind me. I just stopped and then they're walking by and they go, stop and see what's going on. And I'm like,
All right.
that was my heyday, but yeah.
Yes, actually, sorry, I don't think I asked you how you're doing.
Oh my God, I've had an awful week.
Yeah.
I'm sure Facebook is after me. I'm convinced myself. Because I don't understand when they alerted me to say that my account was what's the word? My account was hacked or
blocked or okay.
No, it was hacked or something.
Okay.
The security alerts, but there were like 3 or 4 of them, and something went to my WhatsApp. I was like, and for me, the first thing I had to do was validate that these are real and are coming from, because I didn't want to get hacked. Do you know what I mean? So I've never had this before, and I've been with Facebook for quite a while, at least more than 10 years, I can tell you that. And I've never had this before. So I wanted to make sure that these emails were coming from Facebook and not somewhere else. So I checked online to see what Facebook, what they send and how they send it, not what they actually send exactly, but how they send the emails. So I had these 3 emails with different codes, right, and saying to me, is it, and so you panic at the same time, so you're trying to read quickly and it's kind of limited. Basically, to cut a long story short, I didn't know which code I was supposed to put in. I put these codes in.
Right.
That my code that I needed was in WhatsApp, and they said that they sent it to my SMS, which is my phone, right?
Yeah.
But it went to WhatsApp, which I don't consider my SMS.
Right.
So, and I'm looking at my phone for SMS. So what I did was use the other codes that they sent me, thinking maybe these are the ones that they wanted. Yeah. And then I've been blocked out for more than a week now. I can't get in, right? Yeah. And I've sent them umpteen letters saying, this is me. I've sent the ID with who I am, and still I'm waiting. And what I do is also I put in my problem on like the you can go online and put in like problems, and you got other people who were or are members of Facebook where this happened to. There's quite a lot of people that and have had to start a new Facebook account. I'm on. I don't know what I'm going to do. Yeah, I've got my partner to take out all my pictures and videos. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it again because it's really unfair that they've done this, right? It's obviously my account. I've sent an ID. I sent it several times.
Yeah, you would think that they need to implement better.
Yes, they do, and some
like
talk to. And the thing is, right,
verification processes.
Yes, and what was it? They said, after I said what happened, and they said, "Oh, we will contact you shortly."
They don't.
And I'm like, well, shortly is like it's been over a week. And then Dowell checked it, right, and he said, "Oh, it says 96 hours or something like that, which is 4 days, and it's past that." But what does, and I read them back and said, what does shortly mean? What do you mean by shortly? So I'm hoping that, someone else or we or somebody else starts a new page, because Facebook is not here for us. It's here to make money for those ads and they're not supporting us.
Right.
And then there was another thing asking for my credit card on Facebook. I'm not giving you my credit card.
What? No, never. What? Why would
ID my credit card? I'm not going, no. I'm giving you my ID card and that says everything. Yeah, it's in Japanese, but it's got my name in English. So yeah. I don't know about that, because I don't know if I'm gonna use Facebook again.
Word.
If Dawa can get all the stuff off, I don't know.
Right.
I'll move on to something else. I'm going to use another, unfortunately we have to use,
Yeah.
but that's it. Yeah,
Okay,
but
okay.
yeah, and I'm not being very well, but that's just how it is, and I'm still here, and I'm better, so I'm okay, and thank you for asking.
All right.
But we've had a month. We've had a month of craziness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I'm finding it very difficult to, like I said last month, to find police and the murder rate of innocent, because you're innocent until you're proven guilty, innocent Black people, Black humans. I'm having trouble. I found one that was this month, and I think it was a few days ago. I'm not sure. So basically, a woman called I think it's Nika Holbert was killed by an officer. It says killed, officer killed, but they're saying fatally wounded. And a traffic stop gone wrong. There's a video to show it. They've actually released the police body cam. However, I read in another media page that there's parts missing
in the video, in the body cam. Oh
wow. So this happened in Tennessee, in America, on March 22nd.
Let's take a look at that.
Yeah.
We also have new uncut video of the shootout between Metro Police Officer Josh Baker and Nika Holbert. Our Hannah McDonald shares the video and reports on the officer's decision to search her bag, although she was not his target.
Is anybody in there with you?
For the first time, we're hearing Nika Holbert and Officer Josh Baker meet face to face on Friday. This is the uncut footage from the officer's body camera. It shows Holbert giving him her non-driver ID card and explaining the car she's in is no longer Damon Buchanan's, who Baker thought he was pulling over.
Where's he at?
I have no idea.
Is there anything illegal in here I need to know about?
Weed.
Where's that at?
After spending a few seconds leaned over into the car, Baker asks Holbert to stop.
Just bring your bag out here. Okay. Ma'am, stop going through it.
We need to know the backstory.
Was this investigation of Holbert deserved? We asked our legal expert. Although the officer expected to face a man with 6 outstanding drug warrants, believing drugs are in this car with this woman gives an officer the right to investigate, says attorney Nick Leonardo.
In this case, you walk up to the vehicle, you're looking for a male, there's not a male there, but when you approach the vehicle, you see a firearm or a weapon, or you see drugs in plain view. And at that point in time, you would have a duty as a police officer to conduct, further investigation.
The police video shows the officer finding what the department says was marijuana and a powdery substance. And then when Baker tries to handcuff Holbert, a struggle that's hard to watch. Still, the video that police published has been viewed more than 2 million times on YouTube.
People are starting to pay a lot of attention to this body camera footage all over America, determine what can be done to better, to have better encounters between the police and its citizens, and what is being done wrong, quite frankly.
Every bit of video would also come into play in court, if that is where this ends up. In Nashville, Hannah McDonald, News Channel 5.
Thanks, Anna. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is still looking into the case, but it will ultimately be up to District Attorney General Glenn Funk if any further legal action will be taken.
What do you think?
Well, I think, hold on, so it didn't show in the video, but she got shot. She got fatally shot, right?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's not deserved, because she wasn't posing any threat or anything. It was completely,
because I heard that I read that she pulled a gun. That's not in the video, right?
Oh, okay.
So I don't understand. I don't understand. And so they're acting like she's. So I'm hearing that she died.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the this is your Black World News is that it's that they killed her, but you're not hearing that they killed her. They're saying, okay, I guess fatal is killing. I guess fatally wounded.
Yeah.
See on March, right?
Yeah.
But it's saying that they killed her. So I don't know did they kill her or is she fatally wounded? I mean, both are bad. One is where she can't come back, right?
Yeah, well, it was kind of mentioned in the video. It's just that like these kind of interactions between citizens and
yeah, so there's a gap
okay.
before the video resumes with the officer searching Holbert's purse while holding something that Holbert claims was for her therapy. You then see Officer Baker pull out something from Holbert's purse, something that resembles a small buggy, looking like those used in the stuffing small amounts of drugs. The officer then asks Baker to turn around the officer then asks Baker
to
turn around, and Holbert responds saying, "No, don't put me in handcuffs." Who's Baker? Anyway, but the Holbert said, "Don't put me in handcuffs. I haven't done anything wrong." And she continues. And things then go out of hand with Holbert seen running around the car before backing into the car as it speeds off. So she actually got into the car and
sped off. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think she got
shot before that.
Yeah, Officer Baker then tased her as she called for help. The video shows Baker pull Holbert. So we haven't seen that one. And that's maybe the one that's on YouTube that I couldn't find. By the arm, tasering her right under the upper left shoulder, then sends Holbert groaning, clearly in pain. A moment after, the officer screams at Baker. So I guess it's two officers. "Ma'am, put the gun down." 6 shots are fired. Baker falls to the ground and Holbert drives away. So it's this story is actually, this one here is really doesn't make sense because Baker, it sounds like she shot Baker, right? But she crashed. Well, they're saying that the 6 shots were fired. Baker falls to the ground and Holbert drives away. Reports say Holbert drove off only to end up crashed into a ditch. Officers arrived at the scene and she was rushed to Skyline Medical Center where medics pronounced her dead. Okay, so this is what it's saying here. So but in the same sense, unless I'm reading it wrong, they saying it sounds like she shot Baker, but that's not what they're saying. So I don't understand. But basically, this didn't warrant anybody being killed. This incident, this situation, could have been de-escalated.
Right.
And not even a taser, I don't even believe it was needed. Right? You could see that she was nervous, she was scared.
Right. I mean, she wasn't even didn't show signs of any aggression.
No.
Or wasn't attacking or anything.
And what he's got to remember is that wasn't the person that he was looking for.
Right.
In the first place.
Right.
I'm not saying if you've got illegal drugs on her, yeah, of course you've got to arrest her, but come on, man, it didn't need to go like that. It didn't need to go all the way over there till she's dead. For real? Really?
Right. Yeah, one thing I just never see is I never see officers explain themselves for their actions. Like, why, why do you want to arrest me? Why are you detaining me? Why are you? And then whenever they ask that, they never respond. They never answer.
But aren't they supposed to though? Aren't they supposed to?
Right.
And so that means that their employers or the government need to make sure that they respond to the question.
Right. So it always plays out like that. They think they have the right or reasonable reasons to arrest someone, so they just go ahead and do that and try to arrest that person, that suddenly aggravates and shocks the other person, and then the other person gets into fight or flight mode. And they don't see any reason in being arrested, so they try to defend themselves, which they have the right to, and which is reasonable, considering they don't know why they're being. Yeah.
What you have to remember, Kwan, is that we're not trained. They are.
Right.
Our reaction is our reaction. So they should be trained to respond to
that's a good point.
somebody reacting to being told that they're going to be arrested and being cuffed, right? So they should be able to respond to those reactions.
Right.
Trained to respond. It shouldn't lead to anyone getting killed. That means that you are not trained well, therefore you should be fired and arrested for murder. I don't care. And also the people that you work for should be also on charges because you didn't train.
They didn't train. Exactly. Why is the first response to like someone being shocked for, defending themselves for being arrested? Why is the first response pulling out a gun?
Why even taser her? Why you couldn't try to talk her down and say, listen, I got to do my job. Come on. There's ways that you can. I'm not even a police officer, but there's ways that you can address this.
Yeah, and the sad part is like when it comes down to like a trial, the cop is always going to say like, oh, like in that situation, like I was defending myself. Exactly. I was defending myself. I feared for my life. I wasn't sure if she was going to pull out a gun. She looked like she was going to pull out a gun, so it's always,
Tired of it, man. Seriously tired of it.
What was her name again?
Her name was Nika Holbert.
Okay, Nika.
And she was 13, from what I get.
Okay. Okay, in Tennessee. Yeah.
Yeah. Rest in power, Queen. Again, I keep telling you that we don't mean anything to them, and that's why this continues. It's not isolated.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not a one-off. It's
not a bad apple.
Yeah. It is what it is, and we see this. And we don't even live in America, right? We don't live in America. And listen, I'm not saying that doesn't happen in England, because it does. The years ago, I want to say it must be in the 80s, they stopped. It's called sus, which means they suspect you of whatever. Right? The police took advantage of it, and they're arresting black people left, right, and center for sus. So they stopped it. But I heard that last year or 2 years ago they brought it back.
Yeah, I do remember seeing like one case in the UK. A black man was arrested for eating a sandwich on the train platform, and you're not allowed to eat. And then the cops came and like 5, 6, 7 guys, and they like arrested him for eating a sandwich. And then people started to protest against that, started eating sandwiches on the train platform in protest of that. So that
I again, there's ways that you can if you want to build a rapport, a relationship with the community, the way that you're going about it's like these are it seems like the people that they employ are people who are power hungry. They're very power hungry, and they majority of them feel like they don't like black people anyway, and then I just want a power hungry. So it's the way that they screen them. There's something wrong with that.
I think that is a huge problem, and a big truth of the reality is that people are just power hungry.
Let me tell you what my Daryl said to me the other day.
Yeah.
When he leaves America, he's never going back there to live. He fears for my safety as well. That's why he's like, I don't want us to live there anyway. But he says, I'm never going back to that country to live. And you find there's a lot of people in Japan like this too. I mean, white people, black people anyway, but white people, they also feel this way about America.
Yeah. I ain't going back. Land of the.
I want to talk about George Floyd, because this month has been, it was Boy, lots of ups and downs. So let's have a look back at the trial update. There's a few links that we need to look at, and
All right.
look back at the what's going on.
This morning, Minneapolis is on edge. Buildings already boarded up, barricades built, and plans are in place for 2,000 National Guard troops as Derek Chauvin, the former police officer accused of murdering George Floyd by kneeling on his neck for more than 9 minutes, prepares to stand trial. Some residents are pushing back against the extra law enforcement presence.
We have a problem this past summer that was created in large part by the police, and now we're saying that the police are the only thing that can protect us from that.
Now, after an uproar, the city's also scrapping a controversial plan to hire social media influencers to post trial information online.
We use the term social media influencer, which in retrospect did not accurately reflect what we are asking of our partners, and it caused confusion in the community.
That community is clearly still reeling more than 9 months after Floyd's death sparked a nationwide reckoning. Now, less than a week before Chauvin's trial, prosecutors are pushing to reinstate a third-degree murder charge against him, in addition to the second-degree murder and manslaughter charges he's already facing. An appeals court is considering the extra charge.
We, in turn, will issue an expedited decision as soon as possible.
Jury selection is set to begin Monday, opening statements by the end of the month. Cameras will be allowed inside the courtroom, but the eyes of many will be on the streets outside.
If people want their voices heard, that they wish to protest, we want to see it done in a peaceful manner.
Authorities are trying to avoid what happened last summer when parts of the city burned. They're on alert for extremists after reports some of last year's violence may have been instigated by white supremacists looking to discredit protesters.
We want to make sure that we get that information timely and that we can do everything we can to prevent harm again to individuals or a city itself.
The attorney for Derek Chauvin declined to comment ahead of the trial, but in previous court filings, he had said that Floyd endangered officers by resisting arrest. The Minneapolis Police Department is also not commenting. The 3 other officers involved in the case are due to stand trial later this year.
The first juror has been seated in the trial of Derek Chauvin. Now, Chauvin is the former Minneapolis police officer charged with killing George Floyd. Jury selection started today after being delayed yesterday. Our Alex Perez joins us live outside the courthouse in Minneapolis with the latest. Alex, what do we know about this first juror so far?
Well, Diane, we know that jurors' identities will remain secret, but there are a few things we know about this first juror that was seated this morning. We know he's a white male in his 20s to 30s. He says he works as a chemist. He also says he supports the Black Lives Matter movement, but has some problems with the organization itself. He says he has an unfavorable view of the pro-police movement, Blue Lives Matter. He also says he has not seen that gut-wrenching video with Chauvin on top of Floyd. He said he's seen some still images of that video, but he has not seen the video itself. So he is the first juror to be seated. There are a total of 18 people who have been dismissed, 16 that didn't even make it past the questionnaire process, and 2 dismissed in court today. So it will be a lengthy process to fill this jury. They need 12 alternates, 12 jurors and 4 alternates. But the judge believes that it's possible, and he's dedicated time every day to go through this process, about 3 weeks until they are able to fully seat the jury, Diane.
Yeah, no doubt a challenge to find jurors who are impartial to a case that's gotten so much attention globally, really, around the world. Now, Alex, selection was delayed yesterday because attorneys are arguing over this additional third-degree murder charge. Where does that debate stand right now? Will the charge be added or not?
Well, Diane, that's a good question, and all of that sort of remains in a legal limbo right now. There are 2 separate things that are outstanding. There's a Court of Appeals review that's outstanding and a petition, a motion that has been sent over to the Supreme Court. Neither of them, the Minnesota Supreme Court, neither of them have responded, and at this point, it remains unclear when either of them will step up and say something about the motions before them. But the judge in this case says he will continue to move forward until someone tells him not to until a higher court tells him not to. So for now, that charge has not officially been re-added, but the process of jury selection will continue. But once those courts make a decision, there is the possibility that all of this could come to a halt until that's resolved. Diane?
All right, Alex Perez, thank you for that.
Alex, thanks very much for that. Joining us now for more on this important trial, the trial of Derek Chauvin, is ABC News legal analyst and The View co-host Sunny Hostin. And Sunny, as a former prosecutor, I'm going to call on your experience there. We just heard Alex and Diane talking about the challenges in jury selection in a trial where there's so much publicity and so much intense feeling around it. As a former prosecutor, what challenges do you see and how will the court handle them?
I think it's certainly very challenging to find someone that has never seen the video, who doesn't have any preconceived opinions about what happened, because as Diane mentioned, everyone has seen this video. This is something that has gotten global attention. And the way that they're handling this is a bit different. We're talking about a 16-page juror questionnaire that has been sent out. That is not a typical jury selection thing that happens in most cases. And when you look at some of the questions, Terry, that were asked, they really are getting at the meat of the matter. One of the questions, have you ever watched videos of George Floyd's death? Have you ever talked about George Floyd's death with your family, friends, co-workers, or discussed it online? Did you or someone else close to you participate in any of the demonstrations or marches against police brutality that took place in Minneapolis, where we know the crime occurred? If you participated, did you carry a sign? And if you carried a sign, what did it say? That tells you, that jury questionnaire and the pointed questions, Terry, what the stakes are, how high they are, and the type of information that they're trying to elicit from these jurors. They want someone not necessarily that has lived under a rock, someone that hasn't seen anything, someone that hasn't talked about it, but someone that has seen these things, has discussed it, but that can still come to an impartial decision based just on the facts of the case.
And Sunny, from the defense's comments today, it seems pretty clear they intend to raise questions about the cause of George Floyd's death. How crucial is that going to be to this case? And what do you think the arguments will be on both sides?
Diane, I think that's going to be crucial, because at this point, ex-officer Chauvin has been charged with second-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. And prosecutors have to show beyond a reasonable doubt, which is a very high threshold, of course, that Chauvin's actions were a substantial causal factor, not the sole cause of death, or not the specific mechanism of death, but a substantial causal factor. And the second-degree murder charge opens him up to about 11 years. The second-degree manslaughter, they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Officer Chauvin took an unreasonable risk when he restrained him. Now, if you look at that threshold, Diane, if you look at trying to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt, the argument for the defense is Officer Chauvin kneeling on the neck of George Floyd for over 9 minutes wasn't the substantial cause of his death. It may have been a factor, but not the substantial cause of his death. So they are going to try to bring in other potential causes of his death, maybe his health history, maybe he was under the influence of any sort of medication that would have led him to asphyxiate, that sort of thing. So I think those are the arguments that we are going to hear coming from prosecutors and from the defense attorneys.
Looking for some reasonable doubt generated in the jury's minds on the defense side. And Sonny, let's take a step back from the trial. This was such a flashpoint moment for our country. George Floyd's death just had a huge impact on the United States, bring the Black Lives Matter to the forefront of our country's debates. Can you get a sense of what the trial of the man who killed him and its results mean for that movement and for our country going forward?
Well, you know, Terry, I think that the question is that our country is going through a racial reckoning right now. And as we've mentioned before, there is no question that his murder, seen on television, on videos all around the world, and not just in this country, has really started a movement, not only in this country and in the world. And the question is, do Black lives really matter too? And people will feel that the answer lies in whether or not they believe justice has been served in this particular case, because this particular case seems to feel that it is the flashpoint. It is the impetus for this renewed civil rights movement. So I do believe that this case is very, very important to the future of race relations in our country.
Sonny Hostin, thanks very much for that. I should correct myself. Derek Chauvin is allegedly the killer of George Floyd. That's what the trial is all about, of course.
All right. Yeah, that was a lot.
It's a lot of information, right? Really good info. Really good. Let us know what's happening. I do think, if I saw and read correctly, I'm sorry, I don't know. I can't remember my source. That they did bring in the third degree also, along with the
other. Okay. So he's got like 3 charges.
3
right? Yeah, the one thing that, one of many things that caught my attention was like the case for making a substantial argument, that the whole case resting on this substantial thing. I don't see how, putting your knee on someone's neck is not a substantial, can't be a substantial contributing factor, right? Like, what are you gonna say to like be like, no, that was nothing, that knee on the neck, like that didn't do anything.
Yeah,
like,
because you can't. There is what proof do you have? What kind of proof are they gonna have?
Right.
You're on someone's neck for 9 minutes, right?
Right.
9 minutes, and that being combined with a medication or whatever drugs they want to say he was taking, or etc. How is that? But the fact of the matter, you have your knee on someone's neck, isn't that alone?
Right.
So that doesn't make any sense to me. But the fact that they're preparing for a riot is quite telling to me. It seems that they're preparing for a riot, right? So what does that mean? So this is what's scaring me. Why are you preparing for a riot? Do you know the answer before we do? That's what's for me.
That's interesting. Right.
What do you mean?
Why? Yeah, exactly. Why are you preparing for a riot? Are you trying to say Black Lives Matter?
Right, extra law enforcement are going to be present.
That's interesting, right?
I'm like, are you waiting for a riot? I'm trying to check in my notes because I take notes while I'm.
Sure.
Right.
So that's what they said, right? They said riots, not like protests or marches.
It's like extra for me, right?
That's
and I say already, the extra law enforcement are trigger to the riots. So why would you antagonize the people with bringing extra? What are you trying to say here? Wouldn't you just wait? Are you expecting for him to get off? So that's quite worrying to me.
That is such a good observation.
But I did like that they mentioned last year, which wasn't mentioned if at all or very little, that the white supremacists were instigating the violence and they blamed Black lives. I'm very happy that was mentioned, and it wasn't by Sonny Hostin, it was by the announcers, right? What do you call them? The presenters. Sorry, yeah.
Right? Sure. News reporters or something.
Yeah. So I was quite happy that they did talk about that, but unfortunately, it wasn't talked about enough last year when it was happening. I mean, what do you think? I mean, because Sunny said there's a racial reckoning in America right now. Do you think so? What's your opinion?
As in, like, there's like a new movement, or like,
a racial reckoning, like people are waking up and like.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. I don't know how you see it.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, at this point in time, I think it's looks like it's a revive or like a new civil rights movement that this we haven't seen in this century, 21st century. I think it is kind of like, it was kind of sparked by the George Floyd case a lot more, because I don't know why it took the George Floyd case though.
It isn't just a George Floyd case. I don't know why you think that. It's. I'm not speaking for American people, but I know what I feel. Right, we're tired of getting murdered.
Right.
And we're tired of them getting away with it. George Floyd was the last straw, but they're still doing it. And it sparked it sparked it because the man kneeled in front of the world, right? While he was being it was recorded, and come on, you can't tell me that he didn't know he'd been recorded, and did that with no feeling or thought or empathy for another human being's life. There are many reasons. It's not just one reason why this has exploded.
Got it.
All right, so it's ongoing. It dates back to slavery, after slavery, Jim Crow, and all of these different incidences. Education board and I forget the correct with all of these things, right?
It was like the last straw.
And Black people have always listened to what white people have told them to do, how to react to this, when it's not even their experience. And we still do it though. We still react to how they tell us to.
Right.
Example, Kaepernick. I would never kneel.
Right.
Let me just get that clear. I would never, ever kneel. What he did was he sat down, and then he was told by a white person, to make this softer, you should kneel. I would never kneel. And don't get me wrong.
You wanted to sit down.
No, he did sit down at first.
Okay. Okay.
Please go and find out. Look what he did first.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Told by a veteran that is disrespectful. Listen to me. It didn't matter what he did.
Yeah.
He's still disrespectful, right? The thing about this, a lot of white people don't go through our experiences and our turmoil and all of these things that they put us through, but they're always
telling you how to react
at the beginning of the line, telling us how we should express our feelings to what they are doing to us, and they still do it, and they're not able to own the crap that they do. As we saw this, we've seen it, especially this month, all the time, but you see on live TV all the time.
Which kind of brings us to the Sharon Osbourne.
Yeah, I know. I do want to talk about that, but I think I want to spend a little bit more time on this.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I like what Sunny said. Sunny Huston said when she said, "Do Black lives really matter?" This is going to tell us. We already know, but do Black lives really matter?
Right. The verdict of this.
And it's going to be very important to race relations.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And she made a valid point, and I totally agree with her, because I want to see what happens. I don't believe he's going to get off. No, I'm sorry. I want this man to be indicted. I want him to be
right.
I want to do the time for his crime, but I'm scared inside of me that he's gonna get off. It's gonna
yeah.
We don't matter. I said I'm scared. It's not a scared. It's a hurt more than a scared, than something that me being afraid. It's more of a hurt.
Just absolute disappointment and letdown. Yeah, and there's probably gonna be like just a huge backlash from, if he's let off or.
So that's why I'm questioning why all these they're building all of these things and getting extra a police informant, extra law enforcement. What are you expecting? What are you trying to tell us?
Right, that's such a good point. With that, because they didn't have that kind of.
What are you preparing
protection for? Right, exactly. They didn't have that kind of preparation. On January 6th. Right.
Thank you for bringing that up.
I mean, it's like obvious. That's obvious. Yeah, it's the elephant in the room, but like, yeah, didn't need to be said. But yeah.
Well, yeah, and that will be something to see, right?
Right.
That will be something to compare, a comparison.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's look at the update on Sharon Osbourne. Yeah, there's been so much going on with the talk that she's on. It's been on
Oh
hiatus.
man. Yeah, and she dug herself even deeper.
Also, was interviewed as well, and
Right, post interview. Yeah.
yeah. But I didn't post her interview because I don't really care, and I'm very because she's just playing the victim. But what we're gonna look at are I think it's I forget the group. I actually like what they say, and that's why I wanted to.
Fox Soul.
Yes. I wanted to listen to what they say because I totally agree with all of two of them mainly. But let's watch it anyway. And then we can talk about it after.
Okay.
Speaking of playing dumb, Sharon Osbourne's downward spiral continued this week on an exclusive one-on-one with Kevin Frazier of Entertainment Tonight. She implied that she's been set up by producers for their heated discussion about Piers Morgan and Meghan Markle and the racism. She told Kevin, "I cannot believe I'm your sacrificial lamb." I can't do an English accent, but whatever. She's, of course, she's playing the victim. Kevin Frazier even caught backlash for taking it easy on Sharon, encouraging Black women, once again, we got to fix their problems, to hold a summit concerning her comments. Kevin, you know better. That's not on us, that's on her. What do you think about her lack of accountability? And what do you think about this brother, which, I'm cool with Kevin Frazier, but why are we swooping in to save this lady? She don't let her save herself. What y'all think?
It's getting to a point now where Black people as a whole are becoming so fed up with white people that our sentiments can be confused as racist. But y'all, listen, white folks, we're tired of y'all. Like, I just don't understand why we have to hold summits to educate y'all on something that y'all created. No, how about you take your ass to your nearest HOA meeting, your canasta club, your tennis group, and you sit around with the other Karens and their husbands and talk about racism. We're sick and tired of educating y'all. Y'all would never go to a rape victim and ask the rape victim to explain to a group of rapists what about the situation was rape, but you expect us to explain to you what about your trauma inflicting behavior is trauma inflicting. The second thing about it is whiteness is one hell of a drug, baby, because for you to be able to fool la and philander through this damn world and do and say whatever the hell you want to do to say to people, and then wake up the next day, brush your teeth, put that tired ass strawberry rinse on your head and say, I'm gonna go out in the world and I'm gonna tell people that I was set up and they're gonna believe me and be the victim. It's just one hell of a delusion and a drug. I don't understand how you were set up. Set up, in my opinion, is saying, Sharon, what are your thoughts about your husband's mistress? That's a setup. Asking you questions about a very broad racial topic that's permeating the news, and you're in a news reporting space, and you mess around and show your support of racism slip. That ain't a setup. That's a slip up. That's on you, mama.
Q, she said that they were supposed to talk about Pepe Le Pew getting canceled because, he's the rapist skunk that was always trying to rape the cat. And it turned into the Piers Morgan conversation, which was news. I don't buy that at all. And she was said, no, you made those comments. And the way it was really about how she was talking to Cheryl Underwood was the real issue we had with the Sharon Osbourne. So knock it off, cut the shit. Al, what do you think?
Ooh, this is a very interesting, and this particular situation has multiple layers. One thing that I do know, because I was a part of a shakedown like this from a major network, if you don't remember,
of course.
I do understand where she's coming from. What she's basically saying is CBS, remember, is where Gayle King is at the top of the morning. CBS is also the network that secured the Harry and Meghan exclusive interview with Gayle King's best friend, Oprah Winfrey, which was aired on CBS. CBS is also the house of the talk. And even though CBS had put a lot of chips in the space of protecting and betting on the royal family, Sharon stood on the opposite side of the table. So what happens in this space was CBS saw an opportunity to pluck her off the network. And this is what I think is going to unfold. You're going to see her issue an apology, and she's going to say she's going to explore other career opportunities, in my opinion. I don't understand, though, why, A, it took so long, given all of the other cases in which she has presented racial epithet towards other co-hosts, as well as homophobic epithet. I don't understand why it's taken them 11 years to remove her off of the platform, given all of her derogatory comments, feelings, and suggestions. I think in this case, it was money versus fame, and money will always win, especially with a major network.
Okay, so you think it was a bigger plan to really get her out of there? Like, you believe that?
I think so.
Okay. In other Sharon news, Leah Remini alleges that Sharon Osbourne made racial slurs about the talk host Julie Chen, who's Chinese American. Leah says Sharon used the words wonton and slanty eyes to describe Julie. Not a good look. I think Julie is with the head of CBS, right? She also said that Sharon openly called lesbian actress and executive producer Sarah Gilbert can I say that word? A pea licker and fish eater. Wow. If any of these rumors, if this is true, do you think she should be fired from the talk? What do y'all think?
The comments that she made years ago. First of all, the comment about Miss Chang, who was on it, what's her, Julie, right?
Yeah,
Wasn't Julie married to the president of CBS?
Yeah, yeah.
Was right. He was the president of CBS. So believe me, if she said anything to his wife that was derogatory and they felt it was derogatory or racist, don't you think she would have got plucked off then?
It was behind her back. She said it to Leah is saying she said it to her. So it wasn't like, I don't know if Julie was knowledgeable about it behind her back.
All right. I just feel like she's got a long history of calling people all types of names, from ghetto to slanted eyes to pea licking, and nothing has ever happened to her before because her celebrity was able to outweigh those in which she was talking about. I think in this case, she's got a big network behind a big situation, and she's on the opposite end of the table, and they plucked her ass right on out.
And start.
We have some YouTube comments.
Yeah, they made a lot of really good points. A lot of good points. You know, like I liked what he said about, you know, Sharon. Oh, sorry. His name was Funky.
Okay, Funky Dineva.
Yeah. Just that, you know, you're a talk show host on a talk show, like television program, and you're asked, you know, a very general question, broad question about something, an important issue that's permeating, you know, the world, and you don't want to talk about that, you know. Yeah, so I totally agreed with him on that point.
No, but it's much more to what he said. I mean, what he said, right? Is yes, but it also, she showed her slip.
Yeah, it was a slip up.
She showed her slip. It wasn't a setup. It was a slip up because
right.
She went on Twitter and said that she supports Morgan. Right? How could she not think there were going to be a comeback? For the two reasons, for what Al Reynolds said, the other guy, Al Reynolds, I like what he said, because he's making it. I don't believe that CBS is doing this because of racism. They're doing it because of them supporting Oprah and Gail with the interview with this is what I believe has happened, and I completely agree with him. However, I don't think that it's, I mean, in my opinion, I don't think it's got anything to do with the race issue. And like what Al Reynolds said,
yeah,
they would have done that. They would have addressed that years ago when she called my girl from 21 Jump Street.
Right.
I forget her name. Oh my God.
Was she mentioned in here?
God, I forgot her name. She used to be in 21 Jump Street, and and other things. PT. I forgot her first name. Sorry about that. Sorry.
Okay.
But she called her ghetto, right?
Okay.
And the other people, slanty eye. Well, okay, the slanty eyes, she wasn't there. It was behind her back, but a pelican, right? Right. To I forget her name, Gilbert. So
yeah,
they would have done something then.
But they
And
didn't.
that's what he's saying. It's to do with because she stepped on CBS's toes in when she supported Morgan, right? And it's obvious they were the ones that released this tell-all, you know, this interview with Meghan and Harry, right? So I am inclined to believe Al Reynolds on what his belief. However, Funky Geneva, he made it to a T about Sharon Osbourne, right? She's playing the victim now.
Right,
and also what Claudia Jordan said about what was his name?
Kevin.
Yeah, the
Fraser.
Yeah.
Yeah, helping her on her apology tour.
Why did he not interview Cheryl Underwood, or even put them together? But for me, I don't think she did. I don't think she deserved to be on the same platform as Cheryl Underwood. What she did was disrespect Cheryl and talk down to her like she was Cheryl's master. Like I said this before last time. Like she talked to Cheryl like she was a slave and she was beneath her. Right? She was wrong and strong. Right? That's what Sharon was, wrong and strong. Right? She knew she wrong, but what she did, she played the victim. Like white women do this all the time.
Right. I feel like you're attacking me.
Let me give you. Yeah, I've been putting in that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Right? What a flipping drama! That nonsense.
Right.
Own your crap, right? Because what you're supporting him. What you're saying is that you agree to his bullying and microaggression and underlying racism to Meghan all this time. She's a royal. She's married, and that makes her a royal. So you're agreeing with his treatment of her, right? So by saying that he is allowed to have his opinions, but what opinions are they? He's a bully.
Right.
So your excuse is what you're doing is you're calling his attacks on Meghan opinions.
Neutralizing. That's interesting.
Right?
Right.
Thinking that you're not going to get checked for the crap that you just pulled.
He's saying, yeah. I remember she said, yeah.
I would take up. How you? So that's how privileged you feel you are, that you're going to say something and think no one's going to come for you. Really?
I remember she said she was defending Piers by saying, "Oh, like, what's wrong with him just not liking someone?"
Yeah, but that's got nothing to do with it.
Right?
And we all know that. And we all know that.
Yeah.
Right? And it's okay to not like somebody, but you were very unprofessional.
Yeah.
And I also blame the ITV for letting him get away with it for this long. I said that to them. I said, you sat on your hands and let him continue this bullying and these microaggressions with Meghan and did nothing until the 42 whatever million people. Right? You sat on your hands. And
I imagine it's because they didn't do anything, because that's what they get him to do that so that they can bring in the ratings.
As we talked about before, right?
Yeah.
What will make these rules for what racism is, and it's not their experience, right? If you call somebody the N-word or the black this or the get back, they consider this as racist verbal words to black
behavior,
people, right? But it's more than that, and they know it. They know it.
Yeah, I like what you said about like just the tone that Sharon was speaking with to Cheryl Underwood. Yeah. Right. It's like, how dare you speak to me like that?
It's a tone that we're familiar. It's a tone that we're familiar with. A lot of black women and men are familiar with. It's a tone that we're familiar with.
Right.
Yeah. She and when they asked her in that interview with Kevin Fraser, and she said something like he asked her if she apologized to and the way she said it was really crap.
Mm-hmm.
What did she say? I've reached out to Cheryl and she hasn't reached back to me. She didn't actually say that she apologized in so many words, but she said something like she apologized. She didn't use the right straight out words that she apologized. She said it in a roundabout way. I mean, I wouldn't take your calls either, because the way that you talk to Cheryl, you talk down to Cheryl, like she believes you. You showed yourself. That's who you are. And don't forget, her daughter was on The View one time, and they were talking about. Do you remember this? They were talking about the illegal immigrants coming into America. And this girl with a privilege and said, because the exact words I don't remember. I should have actually put this in, about them being maids, because the Mexicans are good maids. She said it like it was normal.
Really?
Yeah.
This is Sharon's daughter?
Yeah. I forget her name.
Jesus. And this is like on live.
On The View.
Wow.
On The View, yeah. On The View. And I think
they aired that.
She was really, I think she was let go not too long after that. I don't know how it went, but yeah, everybody was like, and she apologized. Oh. When you apologize for that, that's who you are. That's what you think.
Right. Yeah. And these people have such privileged positions of power and influence. It's a shame.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is, we don't judge her husband and things that he's done. Do you know who her husband is? Do you know anything about her husband?
Sharon, right?
Sharon Osbourne.
Yeah, Aussie, yeah.
Right. Do you know his history?
No, actually, not too much.
I suggest that you go look it up, because I'm not going to say anything to you.
Aussie? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, me personally, I've never judged, because that's yeah, whatever.
Yeah, what do you expect? Okay.
But to support a man that's been terrorizing, bullying, and using microaggression and racial undertones to a biracial woman for 4 years or more, and to say that it's an opinion. How is that?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I had a conversation with this woman on Facebook. I swear to God. It's quite a long ass conversation. I was going to put it on here. I thought, no, it's too long. And she was part of Black Lives Matter, right? And we were all talking about it. And I wrote a long message about it, and saying that, and I used a quote from Maya Angelou, where it says, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Right. And then there's other people say, and then this woman came in, and she was saying something like, I don't believe it's got anything to do with her race. Megan is she's an opportunist, and I said, so and I said to her, what proof do you have of that?
Yeah.
Can you tell me the facts and your experience of experiencing this racial these racial undertones? Can you tell me? And then she came up with another question. I said, no, don't answer my question with
another question.
All right, so can you what? And then she came up with something. I said, yeah, and again, I'm asking you for your facts. Do you know Megan?
Right.
And then and I said to her, what I'm basing this on is my experience as a Black woman, because we've experienced what Megan and a lot of people in this room has experienced, what Megan has experienced.
Right. What are you basing?
We can support her, because we've been privy to a lot of it, almost all our lives. So I'm just cutting it short. It was a long conversation, and it's woe is me and all this thing. The victim, she played the victim, and I did look at her file, and I knew it was coming. I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming, because I told her, you're a racist. I don't know why you do. I don't know what you're doing, blah blah blah. Don't ask me to teach you anything, because it's not my job to. You didn't teach me how to love. How to love other races. I just know I need to. Right. I said to her, she went to me, well, don't call me racist, you don't know me. I said, well, I know.
What you're doing now.
I know you from what you're saying to me. So I have a right to express what I feel from what you're saying. And you don't know Megan, but you, I said, but it's not nice, is it? because I'm telling you based on your ritual, what you've been saying here, right? So, but you don't know Megan, but you're coming. I said you jumped on the bandwagon of what other people have said, and you don't know Megan, but you're coming with all of this stuff. But my husband is mixed race, and his father is from blah blah blah, like a Caribbean country, Saint Lucia. And I was like, and you're telling me this because what? I knew it was coming. This is what they do. It's like, I said, so, and this makes you what? Kind of like bulletproof to being racist.
Yeah, it's a common one.
Dad's black? No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And she goes, well, I was worried about George Floyd, and I joined this because I said, so what you're saying to me, what I'm hearing here, what I'm reading from you is that, oh, you only care about mixed race and black men, but black women, you're not only going to care until someone's foot on a black woman's neck. Is that what you're saying? No, you don't. So it sounds like to me your only purpose here is because of black men and mixed race men, and not black women and biracial women, because you're coming in a room talking about something you have no experience to. Right? And she's like, she's going, you're insinuating things. I said, no, I'm not. Again, it's based on your rhetoric, what you've been saying here in this room to me, and what I'm basing it on is that it's not nice, is it? You're doing the same thing to Megan, but you've never heard anything. You've got no facts on what she has said. You have no facts. Okay, I'm gonna go, and I'm going to wish you good luck. And I said, yeah, and I wish you education, and I wish you
yeah.
But no, it was. We didn't get. I didn't call her out of her name. I mean, I didn't swear because I don't need to. But the thing is, it's like, because you're with somebody that's black, then you need to educate yourself. You can't come into a room and say because Megan is this and you don't even know her, right? We can. I said you come into. I did say this to her. You come into a room full of black people talking about their experience and agreeing with what Megan's been going through because we've seen it.
Yeah.
Right. And we've not only have we seen it, but we've experienced it so many times. And you've not. And you come into a room full of black people to tell us all that we're wrong.
Yeah.
How's that sound? You're your privilege. And I said,
oh my gosh.
I said, but I dare you. And I question whether you walk into a room of white people filled with hate for black people, white supremacists, and tell them they're wrong. You wouldn't do that, would you? But you got the gall to do it. You come into a room full of black people and do it. This is something I've said loads of times to lots of white men and women.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Full of black women, people, and do this, but they will never go into a room full of white supremacists and talk to them in this tongue, in this way, and tell them that they're wrong. But they come and tell us, and it's based on nothing. They have no experience, and they're not even been privy to anything that we've been through.
That's a really, really good point. That like those people they wouldn't go to white supremacists the same way and speak to them the same way they do.
Yeah, but I said to you, you're textbook racist. You're doing this. Oh, and now you're talking about your. Okay, you're just following the pattern. I was like, it's like when they some of them say, "Oh, yeah. But I've got black friends."
I have black friends. Yeah, yeah.
Because I saw that she was married to a mixed.
I listened to black music.
And I'm like, oh, this is gonna come soon. Okay,
yeah.
It was coming, and I was like, okay.
You might as well just list it for her.
No, I wanted to hear it. I knew it was coming. Okay. I knew it was coming. I hope she gets educated. I hope she educates herself more. Right? It doesn't make her a bad person, but but we're tired. That's what Deneva was saying, right? Funky Geneva. That's what they were saying. It's like, it's not your experience. You're coming and telling us how we're supposed to feel.
We should feel.
We're tired of you. We're tired of you, right? You are causing us this trauma, right? You're inflicting this behavior on your traumatic behavior on us, and telling us how we should feel. And like he said, it's like a rape.
Right. Telling a rape victim.
Someone that's raped a woman, and you're asking a rape victim. Or you're telling the rape victim how she should feel, or you're saying to the rape victim, so how should
or asking them how they feel. Yeah.
No, they don't ask us how we feel. They tell us how we feel and how we should feel. So it's not asking us how we feel. They tell us how we. You rape me, you tell me that how I should feel after being raped by you. Is my rape hurting you? How did it hurt you? And that's basically what Sharon said to you know.
Explain to me.
Right. So no, you should learn yourself about what you, because you're doing it, to stop yourself from doing it. It just shows that you're comfortable in your privilege. That's it. So yeah, so let you go along. I liked her, and you find a lot of black people we like Sharon Osbourne. A lot of us we liked her, but we didn't know who she really was, and it's that's how it go. I saw it go, as we say. That's how it is. That's how it is. Yeah. Slip up, no, gonna knock you down, and that's what happens. And I'm not you know, please don't think that I'm making light of someone else's downfall. No, it isn't. It's just that you have to understand. You need to educate yourself about the things that you say to and how you talk to people, right? And it seems that you've been talking to other people like this for a long time and getting away with it and thinking it's okay. And one day it's going to catch you out. And it wasn't. I don't think that's. I really, again, I agree with Al Reynolds that I don't think that was what caught her with CBS. I think that the black people and the people that came for Sharon, that's what the complaints and all that. Yeah, she was comfortable in how she's been. And what she don't understand is that people are mad about how you talk to another black woman. It was disgusting.
Is she still on the show?
Who?
Sharon? Did she get?
Oh, she's did you not see? Listen what they said.
She said that she's gonna find some other.
Yeah, she's gone. She said she quit, but we take the fire. But
she's gonna explore other options, right? That's what she said.
Yeah,
explore other options.
That's it. So yeah, whatever. Because that's what used to be getting, and she would have probably gotten away with it if it wasn't for that CBS business. That's what I think. Or black people weren't going to get away with it.
40,000 complaints.
So I want to talk about two things that happened. I think it was this month and maybe end of last month, or maybe both this month. One is see, this upset me because anytime we have a group that is for us, that supports us, there's always something to break us down, and we need to communicate. I'm not saying people are bad. I'm just saying that, you know, we have to stick together. Now, there's been, you know, it's been in the tabloids and online and YouTube with Malcolm Brown is one of the victims of the police murders. His father was talking about the $90 million that Black Lives Matter, and how they must give him, I think, 20 million of it, and how and all these things. And then there's Tamir Rice, who was Tamir Rice's mother. Tamir Rice was a young 12-year-old boy that was shot in the park, bam, right, like that, because he had a play gun playing by himself, right? I think that was 2013 or 2014. I want to show the video of Tamika Mallory. She is foremost an activist, right? She also is a part of Black Lives Matter, but she was an activist before Black Lives Matter. She's got her own thing, but she also, I guess, lends a hand with Black Lives Matter, or who's part of Black Lives Matter. So she's been accused of clout chasing by Tamir Rice, who's Tamir Rice's mom. And I don't like this. Anytime we have a group, right, they put Black people in there to bring us down. And I'm not saying that Tamir Rice or Malcolm Brown's dad is this way. Let's talk about it. So I'd like you to take a look at the Grammys with Tamika Rice on the Grammys, and I'd like to take a look at the other video with the discussion about what's going on.
One.
It's the state of emergency. It's been a hell of a year. Hell for over 400 years. My people, it's time we stand. It's time we demand the freedom that this land promises. President Biden, we demand justice, equity, policy, and everything else that freedom encompasses. And to accomplish this, we don't need allies. We need accomplices. It's bigger than black and white. This is not a trend. This is our fight until freedom. Until freedom.
It was a lot longer than this, but she was called Clout chasing because she performed on the Grammys. But I'm listening to what she's saying, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I'm listening to what she's saying, and she's saying what she's always been saying. There ain't no difference in what she's saying. She's saying everything that we wanted to say.
That needs to be said. Okay.
Right? That needs to be said. That needs to be said. So, from what you see here, do you think it's clout chasing?
No, it's a message that needs to be said and heard, and what she's saying, it's...
And she's saying it to the millions of American people that watch the Grammys. If there are, I mean, I know that the people that watch it is not as much as it used to be, but she's trying to get the word out in whatever way possible. That's how I'm looking at it. If I'm gullible, then I'm sorry, but this is what I'm seeing, right?
Okay. Yep.
So let's have a look at the other video.
Okay. 3.
Well, the mother of Tamir Rice has publicly accused several high-profile social justice activists of exploiting controversial killings of Black people for financial gain, according to News One. Samira Rice, whose 12-year-old son was killed in 2014 after a police officer shot him within seconds of seeing him in a Cleveland park, sounded off on social media Sunday night into Monday with a variety of posts that seemed to be primarily aimed at Tamika Mallory, but also included prominent civil rights attorney Ben Crump and others. Her outbursts on Facebook seemed to be prompted by Mallory's appearance at the Grammy Awards on Sunday night. Part of her post read, "Y'all have literally effed our fight up. I hope not another family's soul used y'all to represent them," Rice added. "Y'all might as well be junior pigs cops." In subsequent Facebook posts, Rice wrote that she was tired of you Black Lives Matter and named Mallory and crew while directing expletives at her at the aforementioned lawyers. She went on to say in her elaborate social media posts that she feels the activists like Mallory, who says she's never met her, are benefiting off the blood of families who have lost loved ones, gaining fame in the process. And she said, who hired them to represent these families? She doesn't speak for us. If you were going to do anything, you should have had the mothers on stage so they could speak for themselves. And so, obviously her posts drew some praise and some criticism. People have called her a bully. But one person who supported her is a woman named Lisa Simpson, whose 18-year-old son was shot by LAPD in Watts this past summer after allegedly pointing a gun at them. And she said, people like Tamika Mallory are making money from this while I'm homeless, living in a hotel. If they don't give us justice, we're taking it by any means, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So my take on this, I was one of those people, I felt... You know what? Let me just say what I have to say here. So I feel like Ms. Rice absolutely has a reason to be upset. She has a very important reason to be upset. Everyone can understand why she would be upset. But I feel like for every great point that she made, it was trumped by the delivery. I feel like you have someone like Tamika Mallory, who was on the Grammy stage, who has been on the front lines and has been fighting for justice for Black people. May not have been the way that she wanted to be, but she is on the front lines fighting for justice. I feel like I'm not going to say that I do not respect her, but I will never have respect for one Black woman using her platform to belittle another Black woman. I don't feel like we're getting any closer to the goal by putting down a Black person and a Black man. You have a cop who will never have to take accountability for the killing of Tamir Rice. So I feel like you're upset. You have a reason to be upset, but I don't feel like she's upset at the right person.
Yeah, and I think, because I talked to people that saw the performance, and they felt like, and they said this in a respectful way, that she remains on the front lines, like that's her role. Some felt like her being on the Grammys, like just almost said, okay, now it's my chance to be something more than what I am. And I was like, well, hold up, I don't know if I agree with that. So like, you're gonna have people that accept it and disagree, but the way she handled Ms. Rice, I don't think was right. I think could have been handled a little bit better. So I have to agree with that part.
Yeah.
You know, you have a mother who lost her child, a baby. He was a child,
Yeah, he was.
a young child. And so, you know, I've been checking out the response to this online, and a lot of people are just, you know, wanting to stop and listen to her because she comes from a space in this that, you know, many, but also few people involved in the movement have actually experienced.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
So I've seen that response.
And you know, I live with someone who lost their first child. So their life has changed forever, and she can never get past that. So I understand that pain.
You
And when
see
you
it
watch
every
that
day.
video back and see what happened when that police officer didn't get that little boy a chance, he just pulled up like he was rolling up to a bank robbery or something and shot that little boy. I know it's not right, so I do understand her pain.
Yeah.
But at some point, we got to figure we can merge together in this situation.
I'm just going to interject and say that I think that the main point that was kind of overlooked is is the fact that she says Tamika Mallory has never reached out to her. She's never spoken to her, but she, you know, when they run down the list of people who have been killed by cops, Tamir Rice's name comes up. It's one of the first ones to come up. So I think that that's where her reticence towards her comes from. Like, you don't even know me.
That's a great
You've
point.
never even reached out to me, but you're on the stage and we didn't even get the invitation.
Melissa,
Like,
can I ask you a question,
made,
Melissa?
by
That's-
Mike Brown's family. Remember, it was just a couple weeks
Exactly.
ago, and
Yes.
so Mike Brown's father was essentially saying, "Hey, you know, you all use my son's name, but I haven't seen any of this." And so it's a similar comment coming from, again, two people who have experienced something that a lot of people haven't.
No, I absolutely agree. 100%. Great point, Melissa. But I also feel as if we're talking about two Black women, why not find a way? Hey, sis, how can I add authenticity to your fight? If she feels like Tamika Mallory is not authentic in her fight, hey, how can I add authenticity? How can we come together and combine and get and combine and you know, how can you wrap me into what you're doing and make it authentic? I don't feel like
If I'm Tamir
I don't feel like belittling another Black woman on your platform was the right way to do that.
if I'm
That's what
Tamir
saying.
Rice's mother, I'm not doing the reach out. You could reach out to me. Like,
Me?
that's just I can see her point as to how offended she is. Like, you've never reached out to me. You've had years to do so, and now you are like literally becoming the face of the movement, and you have still not reached out to me.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah.
I understand.
Okay. So what did you think? Did you
Yeah.
understand all that? What did you what
Yeah, very interesting. You know, so there's one side of people accusing Tamika Mallory as chasing clout, you know, use like benefiting from from this platform on being the Grammys, and not like reaching out to the family, but yet using them as like, you know.
So what do you think?
I mean, both sides have valid points. Yeah, I guess like if she had, you know, on one side, for Tamika Mallory, you know, she's doing a good thing by using her platform to give a message that's totally right and justified, and that needs to be said. And then on the other hand, yeah, like if she's gonna be citing these families in her message, then she should include them. And I agreed with that. I agree with the like up to that point where they were talking about like, you know, why don't they come together and work together to make it more authentic, and you know, she should reach out, whatever. Yeah, I agree that it's not her job to reach out. I agree that Tamika should be reach out, but then yeah, I also agree that like, yeah, like, okay, like both sides are right, both sides have valid points. How can we like
Let's
put
work
more
on getting
energy?
together, yes.
Exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
And that's what we need to do, is work on getting together, regardless of how we're doing it, and whether it's right or whether it's wrong. Right. I mean, I do understand what the girl was saying, that you shouldn't bring down another sister, and I get that, because there were things that she didn't need to say. She didn't need to say the F word and stuff like that. And I understand.
Okay.
You know, in fact, I don't understand, because I've never lost a child. Right. I've never lost a child. And that must be something overwhelming, devastating, and all the other things I can't even imagine. Right. I do think that, yes, that I agree with what you're saying, that Tamika Mallory should contact her, and let's talk about this. She should contact us, or Mike Brown, and let's talk about this and keep it within us. Right, that's my thing. Right, anytime there's a crack to get in, then those outsiders will find their way in and break up the. And that's my thing. We need to keep, so like, you know, like with Chinese people and Japanese people, we keep it within us, right? And that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
And that's my only thing. My only thing. I'm not blaming anybody here. I'm just saying, let's talk amongst ourselves. This can be fixed.
Yeah. And it's like,
right?
I think
This
it's
can absolutely be fixed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mike Brown's dad, Black Lives Matter said that they gave 30 million to communities, and the 60 million they're building a bigger outreach plan or whatever. I can't remember what they said, but maybe they need to be clearer with other people what they're doing with the 60 million, right? The 30 million went out to all the outreach. The 60 million they're building a platform, etc., right? Well, where did you get that 60 million bill or what's the word?
Money.
Well, the total
donations.
The total.
Or,
Notion. Where did you get that money? The total of it's going to cost 60 million to build this platform, right? So what you need to do is be very transparent with these people.
Sure.
To be any. Do you understand? Because you're an
Got it.
You are a profession. It's a profession, and you're professionals. So the people who are asking questions, I think they should have been more private about it. Because the thing with Black community is that we don't trust each other. Right? We don't trust each other, and so we break down because of the trust that we don't have. Right?
So there's
a saying, right? When a Black man says something, Black people don't believe it. When a white man says the same thing, they believe it, and that's the truth. Right? And this is our problem that we have. The world over, yeah. Right, and so this is why it upsets me, and I don't want Black Lives Matter or any other of the organizations that are fighting for equality to be destroyed, like how the Malcolm X was, how Martin Luther King was, how Black Panther was, all those other community, all those other that came before and after them. Right, I don't want this to happen.
Right, from infighting, yeah.
Let's talk about it amongst ourselves. Let's not go to the media because it's what they want to break us down. They've been after Black Lives Matter since the beginning, right?
Right.
So
you reckon? So yeah.
Let's do this bit amongst ourselves in private,
right.
So we don't have any cracks that they can get into the cracks and make it worse because that's what they've always done.
Very good point. So you reckon this shouldn't have even been news? This should have been dealt with.
That shouldn't be news. That shouldn't be news. That should have been finding and saying, listen, I have a problem.
Right.
But nobody said when Tamir, when Tamir, I don't want to call him Tamir Rice's mom because I think it's not good to when Tamir Rice was talking, I've seen it, and I said, because Daryl showed it me and he goes, oh, I don't know about Black Lives Matter. I said, what do you mean? I mean, I was thinking about it, and then I was like, I need to see this. And I listened to her, and I was like, I went to Daryl, wait, did she talk to them? Has she been to them with her grievances? Is she just coming out? She hasn't talked to them. And nobody asked her if she talked to them. Did you try? Did you say something? Granted, it's not your place to do this. Right? They should come to you because you're the ones that lost someone. It's your child that is name they're calling. And she's right. Right. But this conclusion that they've come to without having a conversation.
Right. Yeah, it could have just been as easy as just reaching out to.
She's hurting, and she's hurting to lose a child. I can't even imagine that.
Yeah.
I lost my dad, and I it's you never get over that. Right? So I can't imagine losing a child. Right? For both Tamir Rice and I'm sorry, I don't know Michael Brown's dad. I can't imagine that. But let's stay to keep it within our community. Whatever arguments we have, let's keep it between us.
Right.
And not show our cracks, or not show our slips, and not show that there's a problem within us, because that's all they need. And I just wanted to talk about that real briefly. I mean, it wasn't brief. Yeah. I needed to talk about that because it's really been on my chest.
Right.
It's the same thing time and time and time again.
Right. Yeah, like the wrong approach is to try to like, like try to find all of the best reasons to justify whether or not Tamika Mallory is chasing clout or not. That's the wrong approach.
Yes, and even in that group, that discussion,
like blaming.
Right?
Right?
Yeah, even that group, that's what it was. Let's not blame.
Yeah, it's like,
let's try. We're talking. Let's see if we can get them together. Right.
Right.
Have a bigger platform. I mean, I ain't got no platform whatsoever. But apart from what we do, we try to do what we can do. But
right.
If I had connections to them, I would try to put them together myself.
Right.
So yes, I understand people are doing things the wrong way. Well, let's fix it. Let's not make them look like, well, she's bad because she can do that. And yes, right. But let's those that know better do better. So let's see if we can fix this. Let's not have this get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Yes, I agree with both sides. I agree that some things are wrong, right? But let's fix it. That's what we do. And we keep it between our community and don't let anybody else in.
Boom, bap. That's it.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Kind of just like how, sorry, go ahead.
No.
It makes me think about like just how we, like you and I, like how we make these podcasts, right? Like if I make a mistake on my end or something, it's not like a witch hunt where we just like spend all of our energy on
talk about it,
on blaming each other. We're just like, okay, well, there's a problem.
Yeah,
unless we fix it, we're not gonna. Yeah, we're not gonna make the podcast.
There's cultural differences, and we've got like you're a man and I'm a woman. There's all this. Right?
Yeah, so many. Yeah.
Right? I'm older, you're younger. We have so many differences, but we have to try to make sure we're not perfect. But I'm never gonna fall out with you over anything because I'm direct. Right. And if I'm wrong, I'm like, babe, I'm sorry.
Right. And I'm not. Yeah. You just we don't spend our energy on trying to find the faults of others. Right. We're trying to find the faults in the problem and fix the problem.
So that we can work better. If there's something that needs fixing, we discuss it.
Exactly.
Let's fix it. And that's how it is, right? I don't want this. And what's between me and you is between me and you. I'm not going to take it out of our little. It's not even a circle, but our little
a line. Probably a triangle because the signals go into like satellites and then.
Triangle between people. What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Line. I like line.
I'm really glad you brought this up because it happens, more often than it should. All just like unnecessary bickering and blaming and attacking and fighting. Yeah.
But then that's when the other parasites come in, and the parasites and the toxic people come in and mess it up.
And use that as their fuel to like. Yeah, discredit.
Right? It's not necessary. This is a good thing. We've got a good deal. Let's get together. Let's sort this out. Let's fix this. We both of you have the talent, and you're the mother of a child. So you can bring in whatever you've got. Right? Let's put this together. Let's work together and get this right.
Yep.
Get this right.
All right.
I just did that because I'm tired of these people with our black kids. I'm so tired of these people with our black kids. I'm glad I'm not a mother, because I don't know how my mother did it. I know my mom pulled the teacher through the car window. Did I tell you that?
Pulled the.
Oh, she pulled my mother tried to pull her through the car window.
Oh. Wow.
My mom went to that school and she said, "Don't put your hand on my kids." One thing I know, they're not bad because they fear me, and we scared. Right? If they're bad, let me know and I'll sort it out.
Right.
My kids.
Right.
And the teacher, this white girl, lied to my brother, said he hit her, and I was there and he never touched her. It is a complete lie. And what the teacher did was humiliate my brother in front of the class. I was crying my eyes out. She ripped all the buttons off his shirt. I swear. Shaking him and hitting him and that
Jesus.
Girl ran, and I ran home because we live like less than 5 minutes to our school. Right. This is what you guys would call junior high school. Is that junior high?
Yeah.
Junior high school, primary, junior high school. Yep. So I ran home. I got my mom. Mom came to school. The teacher was trying to get away in the car. My mom grabbed her. She had the window open. My mom grabbed her through the window and she tried to pull the window up. Mom grabbed her by her neck. And she's not going, Mom go, yeah, nice, no? And she called my brother, look what you did to my son. Look what you did to her. And she cried. And the headmaster came out. And he's like, Mrs. Reed, you're going to stop. And my mom goes, no. My mom was like, please, let's talk about it. Mom got nothing to talk about. She put her hand on my child. And I told you and I warned you.
Right.
Man. And I mean, eventually my mom let her go and she's crying her eyes out. And the next day I went to school, she's trying to blame me. She's trying to, she goes, what did she say? You've done enough trouble. Jennifer, you've done enough trouble. Yeah, you're trying to blame me. No, that was your doing. Don't try to blame me, right? This is, I would never let my kids go to them school. Never. No, when you see, like in England, you see, listen, I feel very blessed that I am where I'm at, right? It was a fight. We all have to fight. We always have to fight. I didn't give up. I didn't let them beat me down. I mean, when I was at school, I didn't think I thought I didn't have sense. I didn't think, I mean, and it's still that scar still, I still bring it it's still with me. When I study, I still don't think I'm capable of doing, because that's what they made me feel like, right? So when we send our kids to school, that's what we send them to. When I went to school, before I went to school, I was the most confident little thing you could ever see, honest to God. And it was taken away from me. As is the other. When you see Black boys joining gangs, because education is the way out, right? And if that's blocked, what do you have? Right? You go into a school where it's run by white people that aren't trained to teach us or be around us, that have their prejudices and their bigotry, right, towards us. So how are we going to be taught equally and fairly? I left my school with nothing. And I worked at a photography studio, and I met this girl there that told me, she was from Spanish heritage, and she told me, "You're smart. Why don't you go and study?" And I know this thing that you can go on. And from there, that's what happened. It was step up. And this white teacher, this white woman at my college, and she said to me, "Why don't you go and train to go to university?" I went, "Me?" And she went, "Yeah." The schools, when you saw these Black kids, they're dealing with people that don't like them. They're going to school, so they're way out, they just don't want to go to school. They're truant. They could become bad. And that what they say in America, the pipeline, school to prison pipeline. That's what it is. You know.
Interesting. Yeah.
So when you see all these things happening, right? We're looking at that school in Philadelphia, right? Where they're building, they're closing, is it 20 schools? Am I right? Is that 23 schools they're closing to build a $400 million prison? What'd that say?
Resources in the wrong place for the wrong reasons.
What does that say? There is a video, I think it's quite long, but we can just talk about this, where there's like, let me give you some facts. This was decided, I think in 2013 or something like that. But now it's come about again because it's all started, it's in the works now. So the total of 23 schools will be closed, roughly 10% of those in the city. And a stunning 81% of those school closing are going to impact Black
students,
even though they only represent 58% of the student body. In Philadelphia, Black students comprise 81% of those who will be impacted, like I said already. In stark contrast, just 4% of those affected are white kids who make up 14% of Philly students. And though they make up 81% of Philadelphia students, 93% of kids affected are affected by the closing are low income. That's including white and black kids altogether. 93% of them that are going to be affected are 93%.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, it sounds like
where that website to get the website to this from. Where did I get this from?
there's a Your Black World.
Your Black World News and Philadelphia Inquirer, right? So these are where I got this information from, yeah, Philadelphia Inquirer, as well as Your Black World News. So, I mean, for me, yes, it's going to impact all the black kids, but I homeschool them, make a community, and homeschool these kids because the schools ain't doing anything anyway. But what they're trying to do is get these kids in prison, right? Why would you invest more money in a prison than in education for these kids?
Yeah, that's what, like, I think, I don't know, if I could interject with any kind of positive thoughts, perhaps maybe like technology can come into play, because nowadays education, you can use your computer, use your internet to learn things. So I don't know, maybe the homeschooling, right? Like you said, like homeschooling, keeping education in the communities.
When black kids are homeschooled, these kids rise above it. They're taking masters at the age of 14, right?
Right, because they're not like chained.
Schooling them are invested in these kids. It's either their parents or somebody connected to them, right? We're invested in these kids. But when you're being educated by white people, or white people who aren't invested in us,
that's such a good point, right? It's like you have to think about the intentions of the teachers.
Exactly.
Right?
I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them have not. I applied to go on this course in England, and they're saying that they wanted all these teachers, but the teachers, what they wanted was teachers from these high level backgrounds, right? That had nothing to do with the community. And I'm like, well, what are you bringing here?
That is such an important point. That's such an important point.
I didn't get in. Mailed me and said to me, can we have your comment, and we want you to apply. I said, I will never apply, because you're not looking for people for these kids, right? You're not looking for people for inner city kids from the inner city schools. You ain't looking for people. You're looking for people to keep them out of the world of money, right? You're looking for people to bring them down so that they will leave school, right? And that's what I said. I said my piece, right? It's all crap. And I really was dedicated to leaving Japan and going back in and invested in my community, right? By going to teach at a school, right? No, and I'm sorry, and I maybe I should try something else. I don't know. Maybe I should. But this is what I do to try to give back.
Right.
We don't have a lot of subscribers or followers, but this is my thing, my way. That we talk about things that affects me and even you, and we can discuss things. A lot of situations and experiences, but this is evidence here, right? 400 million in a prison, leaving 81% of black kids. Now it's a time to homeschool these black kids.
It's like literally the opposite of what you should be
doing. The kids are also affected by low-income kids. Let's make our own schools and homeschool them to be something better than what their teachers or those educators. And then saying that there are some educators that are black and white teachers that are really that but the government don't give them enough money to do you know what I mean? Because a lot of the teachers, I'm not saying all the teachers, a lot of the teachers do try, but there's not enough resource. because they don't put the government don't put money into the schools. So I thought, what's Biden's in power, what has he done? Darryl, I said, listen, I said, Darryl, listen. I said, Darryl today, I said, listen, right? What has Democrats ever done for Black people in America? I ain't seen nothing. I'm being for real. I ain't seen nothing at all. They didn't even free them. That was Republicans. So Biden's coming, and what is he doing? What is it? What, please, somebody tell me, because I ain't seen nothing.
Yeah.
Apart from the jabs.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, the vaccines. Yeah.
I seen shit. I'm sorry.
So
talking about education, continuing.
Yeah.
This headmaster at a Catholic school. Let's take a look at this.
Okay. All right.
A Catholic school on Long Island placed its white headmaster on leave after a Black child's mother says he forced her son to kneel while apologizing to him. It happened last month at St. Martin de Porres Marianist School in Uniondale. The child's mother says when she asked Headmaster John Holian about the unusual disciplinary action, the answer he gave seemed to point to her son's race.
He mentioned a family, an African family who attended the school years ago, and he stated that the African father instructed their child to kneel and apologize the Nigerian way. I'm assuming that he was just generalizing, stating that because my son is Black, that that was how he felt he should have been disciplined.
Now, she wants the headmaster to step down. Administrators at the school say an investigation is underway.
What the hell?
Why is there investigation? It is what it is, right? So what you're saying, so Africa is a continent with many different countries. So because Nigerian people do this, so we all do it? Excuse you?
I mean, either way, why are you asking the child to kneel? Oh my God.
Not my child.
That's disgusting.
I'd have made you kneel down and apologize. I'd have made you kneel down and apologize to my kid.
White headmaster.
He's since resigned. Let's
yeah.
Resign.
Okay.
He's resigned. But you see what they do? We're investigating.
Investigation. Yeah.
Yeah. You're investigating what? So what? So what? It will come down and you bring him back in. Nah. Yeah. Not at all. Not at all.
That always happens. Oh, there's a problem. Okay, we'll investigate.
Well, he could have been lying. How do we know that's a Nigerian family doing? He could have been lying. He could have been lying his ass off. What proof does he have to say that really happened anyway? He could be making crap up. What kid said you made him kneel? In Nigeria, he could have been lying his ass off for all we know. No one's questioned that. Nonsense. Who the hell do you think you is? Who the hell do you think you are? I did it with my headmaster when I was at school too. I saw him manhandling my brother, and I was top of the stairs. And I'm only 1 year older than my brother, right? And I ran down those stairs, and I said, because Dave was a baby, and we used to, we protected him because he was a baby. And I went to him, "What are you doing? Get your hand off him!"
Yeah.
And I went to him, just go to your school, go to your class. I just
yeah.
And he goes, "Who do you think you're talking to? You know who I am?" I said, "Yeah, and you ain't God." I didn't get suspended. I didn't get expelled because he knew he was wrong. He put a hand on my brother, and I couldn't hit him because I'm a kid and stuff like that. But I had my mouth.
Yeah.
And for us, that we had to protect him. There was another time because a teacher hit me and I punched him in the face. No, and this was me and my friend. We're still friends today. My friend Dawn was playing in the cloakroom at school. We were fighting, And the teacher came and she pulled us off each other, and she only hit me.
Oh my!
But I was polite about it. I went, "Miss, don't hit me." Boof. Right?
Hit her too.
I'm going to tell him. I said, "Go on, man." Nothing happened. No, because I'm like, if she hit Dawn as well, I wouldn't have done anything. But she only hit me. I wasn't expelled, I wasn't suspended because she knew she was wrong. She only hit me and not hit Dawn. And she looked at it and told my mom. Never
Yeah, she
told
would.
you that my mom, the wrath of my mother. No.
Yeah, I feel like also like teachers are also in the same, like there's also the same, there's also teachers who are just as power hungry as police officers.
Absolutely.
And it's disgusting. And
Absolutely. My dad had
this is
to
such a,
knock out a teacher. My dad went to, because he hit my brother. My dad was like, my dad was cool. he went, who is Mr. Priest, whatever his name was? Me or you? Boop. Don't hit my child. And left. And in them days, you didn't get in trouble. My dad didn't get in trouble with nothing.
Poof. I like that.
I am not at all encouraging violence, but these are the days when the teachers didn't give a crap about black kids.
Yeah.
And so I'm just being real. My parents had to defend their kids, and it was compulsory for us to go to school. Yeah. Right? I mean, it still is, right? But I mean, we didn't know about homeschooling, because I would have loved to be homeschooled.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been flipping. I'd have had like 2 PhDs. I know this. And higher, if there's anything higher,
PH3 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, PH10.
Oh my gosh. PHZ.
But then back again, we still got that one in Arkansas, the teacher that.
Oh, can we? Yeah, I want to. This is
the 5-year-old black child.
Yeah.
She's out of the toilet.
Oh my gosh.
Bare hands. Now that woman would be in the ground.
Let's take a look at this. All right.
Some people.
All right.
Just,
1, 3.
Breakfast Club, bitches. You're a donkey. Sometimes you just got to get real primitive on people, man. Donkey of the day for Friday, March 12th goes to Carla Lassiter. Who is Carla Lassiter? She's a teacher. Well, she shouldn't be anymore, but she's an Arkansas elementary school teacher. Now, I looked on KATV, ABC 7 Arkansas this morning. I looked on KARK.com, NBC Arkansas this morning. I looked on THV11 CBS. This is in Arkansas as well. Even on Yahoo Life, they ran the story. I looked all these places and kept saying to myself, the headline says Arkansas teacher accused of making 5-year-old student unclog toilet with hands, but none of these articles I read had the teacher's name, but they all had the name of the boy's mother. Her name is Ashley Murray. Dropping the clues bombs for Ashley Murray. Ashley is calling for Carla Lassiter's termination because this damn no-lip having lady who clearly has a VIP membership in the Caucasus Mountains had Ashley's 5-year-old child digging in the toilet with his bare hands. They made this 5-year, no, not they. She, Carla Lassiter, made this 5-year-old boy go in the toilet and get his feces and the dirty tissue out of the toilet to unclog it. Only reason I got her name is because I saw it on Heavy.com. Dropping the clues bombs for Heavy.com because they did 5 facts you need to know about Carla Lassiter, okay? And before we tell you some more about Carla Lassiter, let's go to THV CBS 1140 report, please.
A Pulaski County Special School District mom claims her son was forced to dig into a dirty toilet by his teacher.
Ashley Murray couldn't believe what her son said his teacher made him do in class last Friday.
She made me get my boo-boo out with my bare hands in the toilet. And I'm like, are you serious?
Murray alleges that her son's kindergarten teacher at Crystal Hill Elementary School wanted to teach him a lesson about clogging the classroom toilet. Pulaski County Special School District released a statement Wednesday afternoon saying they're actively investigating these alleged actions. The teacher in question is on administrative leave. After talking to the principal, Murray says the teacher gave her a call.
And said, I don't have an explanation on what happened. I just know that I'm deeply sorry for what happened.
And now they're seeking legal action on the incident.
She needs to be terminated. I feel like she does not need to teach in any school district. She does not need to be around any kids. Her license needs to be taken.
I agree with all of that. Hey, THV CBS 11, why didn't you say this woman's name? Why didn't you say Carla Lassiter's name? We know why. Because white people, Caucasians.
That's
right. We don't recognize the racial bias in media by now. Man, thank you, Heavy.com, for the 5 facts of Carla Lassiter. The number 1 fact is the child's grandmother says the boy is a young black male, and this was done to degrade him. Yes? That is a fact. Okay, we know this already. And this human jar of helmets, Carla Lassiter, had the nerve to talk about keeping kids safe during the pandemic. She was quoted talking about how students were adjusting to wearing masks. The article she was in by KATV said teachers like Lassiter want parents to know they're doing their best to keep their little ones safe. Yeah, the little white ones, not the little black ones. The little black ones, you know, you got him acting like plumbers with no tools and got them unclogging toilets with their hands. I don't know what pisses me off more about this situation. The fact that Carla, Karen, Becky Lassiter made this young black king unclog a toilet with his hands, or the fact that the media in Arkansas is protecting her by not putting her name out there. We on in Arkansas, by the way, 106.1 The Box in England, Arkansas. Where we at in Arkansas? One is 106.1 The Box. The other one is 96.5. Okay, I need answers, all right? Everybody that listens to us in Arkansas, I need answers. I don't know much about Arkansas, but on a scale of 1 to storm the Capitol on January 6th, how racist is it out there? Inquiring melanated minds want to know. Now, there's an old Spike Lee joint called School Days when they were hazing the guys to get in the frat, and they had them blindfolded, putting their hands in the toilet. But they had them squishing a banana. They didn't know it was a banana, but they had them squishing a banana. They thought they were squishing feces. I'm saying all that to say even a frat in a movie that's hazing knows making someone put their hand in a toilet to touch feces is cruel and unusual punishment. Now, I'm sick of people acting like waking up to choose violence is a problem. What do you expect a person to do when you violate my child in this way? I'm working on myself always, but it's not enough therapy, meditation, breathing exercises, all plant-based medicine in the world that won't make me want to see a person get beat up for doing this to my child. Ashley Murray, the mother of this child, has every right to be able to beat this woman up and not be charged for it. And if you are more mad at me saying Carla Lassiter needs to get beat up than you are for Carla Lassiter making this 5-year-old unclog a toilet full of feces with their bare hands, then you are part of the prejudice pale problem in America. Say her name. Her name is Carla Lassiter. She is not a victim. She is a mayonnaise-flavored mammal who needs to be held accountable for the consequences of her actions. Personally, I think they need to sit her in a jail cell for 6 months and every day at lunch, serve her a feces and mayonnaise sandwich on white bread. She don't gotta eat it, just serve it to her. Okay, I'm overplaying with racists. Nothing else is working. When they knuck, we got a buck. If we don't, they will continue to disrespect us and our children, and we just simply can't have it. Because I don't have any other solutions, because this country protects people like Carla Lassiter. So the only answer I got is when they disrespect, you disrespect them back. Here, hold my halo. I'm about to do unto others as they have done unto me. Please let Kathy Griffin give Carla Lassiter the biggest hee-haw.
Please give this giant jar of mail the biggest hee-haw.
Wow.
Come on now. What would you do if that was your kid? What would Gia do?
Oh, yeah, that lady would owe Gia 5 minutes. Gia would probably drag that teacher all up and down that school.
Come on, stop it. You know, we are going to say anything because said everything for us, but he made a valid point that those stations did not mention the teacher's name. Put your mic back on, Kwan. You're muted.
Damn it. Ah, man. Damn it. I was laughing, but oh my God, mayonnaise. That was perfect. But yeah, the media station didn't mention. And you know, I feel like they always fall back to like, oh, like it's under investigation, so we can't release any details. It's all privacy issues and stuff like that.
Let me find that headmaster's name. I think I have a name for him as well. Because the same thing too, the headmaster, white headmaster, right? There's no name. Hold on, let me see if I can find his name.
Oh yeah. They just said headmaster, right? They didn't say the name of the headmaster. Name
is oh my God.
Yeah.
There's just a picture of him. There's no name.
Right. There's a picture.
Can you see the name?
That's what I'm trying to find as well.
Just the mother's name.
Right. Isn't that?
They protect them. That's proof of what. That's proof of what Charlemagne was saying.
Wow, isn't that interesting? I mean, they say the school. They say they have his picture, but
there's got the school name, but not his name. Just a picture of him.
Yeah, man. What's going on? What's happening? And I mean, I'm guessing it's
probably proof, though. This is proof of what. Yeah. This is proof of what Charlemagne just said. That they left the teacher's name out, and he went and found it. Next time we're gonna do this. We're gonna make sure we find his name.
Yeah, and I think that article that you
show the picture of it. Can you show the picture?
Yeah, sure. Give me 1 second.
How dare they?
So this is the
Headmaster at the Catholic school, St. Martin's de Porres, Marinist School.
this one, right? This one?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
a school there. That's him.
Right.
Okay,
They
no
don't,
name.
they don't say the name, but there's this link to CNN. Let's see if CNN has the name. Let's see if CNN does a better job. Let's see. This is CNN.
Headmaster.
They call him the white headmaster, but they don't give a name. I don't. This ad blocker. Oh, hold on. Okay. Name. Do you see a name?
Nope.
Yeah.
Only the mother's name.
Shame.
Charlamagne made a valid point, and we've just proved his point. There ain't no name. So that this teacher can go to another school.
What's going on?
Can go to another school, and
Right.
that's what they do. That's what they're doing. That's how they do it.
Right.
Dirty dogs. Right. So we have quite a fair bit to talk about.
Yeah.
We have to mention this Asian attack and murders in the US this month and since the pandemic. Let's have a look at let's just walk through it, and then we can talk about it. We'll come back with a comment.
There have been a string of violent attacks on Asian Americans across the country in recent weeks that had gone widely unreported.
Last Thursday, an 84-year-old Thai American was murdered in San Francisco. He died this week. On Wednesday, a 64-year-old Vietnamese grandmother was assaulted in San Jose. And on the same day, a Filipino American was slashed across the face on a subway in Manhattan.
2019 Nobel Peace Prize nominee, civil rights activist, and Rise CEO Amanda Nguyen went viral, drawing attention to some of the attacks.
Stop killing us. We are literally fearing for our lives as we walk out of our door, and your silence rings through our heads. It roars.
Asian Americans have been the targets of xenophobic attacks and harassment throughout the coronavirus pandemic, with more than 2,800 anti-Asian incidents recorded by the Stop AAPI Hate Reporting Center between March 19th and December 31st, and still more cases that went unreported.
In 2020, the fact that the president used words such as China virus, Wuhan flu, and even more pejorative terms really fueled this notion of xenophobia, this otherness that we saw in our community. And people demonized the Asian American community for COVID-19.
John C. Yang, President and Executive Director of Asian Americans Advancing Justice, says the recent attacks have caused the community to, quote, hunker down again.
I was tired of living in fear, and I wanted to scream, you know?
In his first week in office, President Biden issued a memorandum condemning this discrimination.
Today, I'm directing federal agencies to combat resurgence of xenophobia, particularly against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders that we've seen skyrocket during this pandemic. This is unacceptable, and it's un-American.
But it's not new. Discrimination against Asian Americans began long before COVID-19.
We are consistently asked, well, where are you from? No, really, where are you from? Even if we've generations been here, even if we built the railroads in the 1800s, even if we fought in wars, we were still rounded up like animals in internment camps and lynched in one of the biggest lynchings in US history. And our history is not taught. That's what I'm advocating for, our stories to be covered and our history to be taught, because these things create empathy. It will help people understand that Asian Americans are Americans.
And Asian Americans aren't alone.
But I think it's also important to recognize that a lot of these issues are faced by more than just the Asian American community. It's faced by other communities of color. What we need to be worried about is economic security for everyone. We need to be worried about making sure that people are safe. And that starts from the community. It starts from having conversations oftentimes within the community, between different races, between different groups of people, to understand where these differences come from so that we could come together more.
Tonight, San Francisco police investigating yet another assault on an Asian man and woman amid an alarming surge of these attacks. The 75-year-old Chinese woman says she was just standing at a traffic light when a man punched her in the face. That same suspect also attacking an 83-year-old Asian man. The woman and her daughter speaking to our local affiliate after the attack.
As you can see, she is extremely terrified. She's terrified to even step out.
This rise in hate crimes inspiring some to speak out, including actress Lucy Liu, who wrote, quote, "My heart goes out to the families of these innocent victims. I know we can be better than this. We must be." And Lucy Liu is out front. And Lucy, I know you don't speak lightly. You don't take this decision to speak out lightly. And I know you believe that the vitriol, the rhetoric, and the violence against Asians over the past several years, especially during the pandemic, your words has poisoned people. Do you think things are going to get worse before they get better?
I do. I think that given the percentage that we currently know in the rise of hate crimes, 1,900% against Asian Americans. But I think there are more that are unreported personally. I think culturally, we are not a people that speak out and talk about being victims. And I think that's something that we learn. I mean, I was born in this country. My parents were not born in this country, but it is something that is passed on. So yes, I think there's more that we don't know about. And I do think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
You live in New York now, Lucy, where, of course, we've seen these attacks against Asian Americans in recent months. Just a couple of examples. A 52-year-old woman shoved while waiting in line outside a bakery. This was caught on video. She ended up in the hospital. On the subway, a Filipino-American man slashed in the face with a box cutter. There is a lot of talk right now about stopping these crimes. And yet the truth is, Lucy, I feel like I see a new case every single day. Do you think enough is being done to protect people right now?
I think the recent murders in Atlanta have really brought more attention to the fact that so many Asians are being targeted. And I really do think it starts with words and language and how people speak and how people understand what's really going on there. And because there are so many different facts out there and beliefs, people are frustrated and they are taking out their anger through violence on Asians. And this is unacceptable and it is an absolute hate crime. And I think there has to be more awareness before anything can be done.
So when you talk about the hate crime, the numbers show Asian American women are especially vulnerable to this hate. 68% of the incidents over the past year against Asian Americans have been targeted at women, 68%. So that's the vast majority. You're talking about 2/3. You have experienced racism throughout your life and your career. And I know that this is a hard thing to talk about because it's not something that you want to just come out and emphasize, but it's really important. Can you share any kind of experience or a story so people understand that truly this can happen to anyone?
Absolutely. I mean, there have been so many, I mean, throughout my entire childhood and my career, slurs, assumptions about how someone is presented. Just because they're Asian, they must be unable to speak English, or they must be super intelligent. I've had many times where I was in an interview with somebody and we were at a lunch and I poured them water and they just assumed that I was subservient because of that. And even in the roles that I've been in, cast in, people reviewing them or people sort of, instead of saying that these other women that are in the movie with me fighting against other people, that my role was sort of highlighted as stereotyping Asians and perpetuating that stereotype of kung fu. Or even the character I played on Ally McBeal as Ling Wu, people would oftentimes compare me to a dragon lady, which Erin, had to look up at the time because I did not know what that meant. And so to me, I found it astounding that if I am doing something, which is my job, acting, that it then also has to be prescribed as well as an Asian stereotype, which then continues to perpetuate something as opposed to, oh, she's just doing her, this job and she's doing it well.
So can I just ask you one other question? Because I know we're both mothers, and we were talking about that in the break before. Your son just turned 5 a few months ago, and on his birthday, you posted a photo with the comment, "We must come together to fight for a brighter and safer future for our children." How do you try, I don't know if obviously at this age you do or don't, but how do you try to explain all of this to him?
Well, I haven't yet explained the violence because, as you know, children have an innocence and have a very magical quality about them. And I think once that is shattered or cracked, it starts to open up very quickly. I did explain, because we have been in New York the entire pandemic and the lockdown and continue to be, about the peaceful protests and what it means and why people are protesting and why they're walking in the rain, in the sun, and why it's important to be able to make your voice heard and to unite with other people. And I think that's one thing that, we have to understand that in America, there is still, in some ways, a caste system where they want to always abbreviate another race. 9/11, it was about Muslims and against people from the Middle East. And then now it's about Asians. So, and obviously Black Lives Matter, AAPI, all of these communities are not separate. We're band together in order to unite. And that is how we can produce results, frankly.
All right, Lucy, thank you so much. I appreciate your being with me tonight and taking the time to share.
Thank you, Erin. Thanks for having me.
Killings of 6 Asian women and 2 others at 3 Atlanta area-based spas has finally brought the conversation about the growing number of attacks on Asians over the past year to the forefront.
And yet police officers investigating the situation are doing everything but suggesting this crime could have been based on race. They're going with the suspect's words that he has a sex addiction, and it might even have been due to diabetes.
Yeah. Then in the press conference yesterday, Captain Jay Baker said the suspect was just having a bad day. And people have discovered that Jay promoted COVID-19 t-shirts on Facebook that were derogatory towards Asians. So here's Stephen Colbert, James Corden, The View, and Jeremy Lin on CNN reacting.
The suspect did take responsibility for the shootings. He said that early on once we began the interviews with him. He claims that these, and as the chief said, this is still early, but he does claim that it was not racially motivated. He apparently has an issue, what he considers a sex addiction, and sees these locations as something that allows him to go to these places, and it's a temptation for him that he wanted to eliminate. And he was pretty much fed up and kind of at the end of his rope, and yesterday was a really bad day for him, and this is what he did.
It's clear to me that this is a hate crime, very easy to charge. Here, Whoopi, Georgia's hate crime statute is barely a year old. It was enacted after Ahmaud Arbery's murder, and it's based on the federal hate crime statute. This is textbook hate crime. I mean, it's about race, and it's also about gender. If this 21-year-old white male targeted these Asian spas because of his alleged sex addiction, because he was addicted to sex with women, the basis of the hate crime would be gender and also race. And so that is just textbook.
I thought it was the textbook definition of white privilege. Yesterday when I saw it, I was really angry. And I think that I only really know how to speak in political jargon, and this is really bad and dangerous spin to say. I thought it was sort of giving cover, like a disenfranchised, crazy white guy has a bad day and society's pushed him so much, so he was pushed here, and that's why he went on a shooting spree.
I see on the TV that police are reporting that the guy who admits he did it says it had nothing to do with race. But why should we believe him? He's a murderer. And the fact is, 6 Asian women are dead at a time when that community is already living under a cloud of fear. And in moments like this, I never know what to say other than that our hearts go out to everyone struck by this terrible tragedy, because I don't have any answers.
When you think about the casual racism that's been pervasive over the past 12 months, then we can start to see the link between language and action. There are real consequences to repeatedly hearing hateful speech. People get hurt and people die.
Calling it the China virus, Council virus, that is adding to it, fueling the fire. And now we're starting to see a lot of those microaggressions turn into actual acts of violence, and it is really hard to watch. And so I encourage people to watch these videos to see this is actually happening. I mean, these are real stories, real lives.
Yeah, Andy says a bad day doesn't mean you target a minority group. Nelson says, wow, the excuses they find. Alicia says, this is disgusting. Tia says, how was this despicable man allowed to speak, that police officer? Who made that choice? Yes, she says, that is a BS answer. Can't believe the cop repeated it out loud as a legit excuse. Yes, Sangeeta, what are your thoughts?
I'm obsessed with the news, and last night I was sitting there watching, and it's disgusting. I moment because my family members, I have Asian family members, my nephews are Asian, and we had this discussion for a very long time. And last night, what happened, what we saw was a hate crime towards women. And the fact that he had this temptation to women that were Asian working at a spa is racist itself. The fact that he targeted women thinking they were sex workers that are Asian women, that itself speaks on a different level of racism. So there's so many aspects to this, but what really bothered me was when the Jay Baker went up and almost made us feel sympathy towards the murderer, talking about having a bad day. He was having a bad day. Are you kidding me? That's what you're going to tell us about this situation, rather than talking about the victims themselves. Last night, they released 4 names, so our prayers and thoughts are out to those family members right now. But I'm shaking at the idea of what we saw unravel last night, and the fact that we are finally talking about Stop Asian Hate that was trending last night. It's important that they go into details of this, and it really bothered me last night seeing what Jay Baker was saying on CNN.
Yeah, we're back in the situation where we know more about the person who did the murdering than the people who were murdered. And that is always an awful place to be when something like this happens. It seemed to me that they were going off the playbook where over the years, a truck would explode on a city street, and then the police would get out in front of it and assure people that this wasn't terrorism, because you get out in front of it and you tell people that so that nobody's fearful. But to come out and try and get in front of this to downplay the idea that it was a hate crime, I'm at a complete loss, because it was a hate crime on 2 fronts. It was a hate crime against Asians, and it was a hate crime against women. And there's no way to look at this, even after, regardless of the conversation that you have with the guy that killed them, to come out of that room and not think for a second that on some level this was a hate crime. So to downplay that, like people need to not worry, we're not dealing with that right now, it makes no sense. And the way that this is handled, when it's handled this poorly at the beginning, and I'm not saying it's going to go this way, but when stuff like this is handled this poorly at the beginning, you start to get a sense of why some trials go the way they do.
Yeah. Why isn't he getting charged? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Jennifer says, this is such a heartbreaking story, especially since I consider Atlanta my second home. The way that police officers showed cover for the shooter was disgusting. Yeah, I get the idea of not wanting to, put a motive to it right away, but they start dismissing other motives, or putting, the sex addiction. It was a sex addiction. Oh, it was diabetes. That might have caused it. Oh, we had a bad day. Yeah, just giving him that cover is just so shocking, and just how nonchalantly he said that. He's at the end of his rope and he had a bad day, and this is what he did.
Oh.
And people are making a joke like, yeah, when you have a bad day, you have a glass of wine or something like that. You don't go and kill 8 people. And this is calculated. He went to the spa that was north of Atlanta. Then he drove an hour to 2 more that were right across the street from each other. He knew what he was doing. He didn't go to strip clubs. He didn't find some prostitutes like it was a sex addiction thing. He went to these Asian spas where Asian women worked, and he'd frequented them as a customer. So to completely dismiss the idea that it has anything to do with race is just insanity. And yeah, just once, I get why people get so frustrated with the police that really? Like, really, you're not even going to consider this being a hate crime? It's shocking.
And that, I think
I've
you're
never
right.
seen somebody
Why
work
was
so
it?
hard to not put a motive behind something and then do nothing but stand there and put motive.
Right. Yeah.
And Graham, you make a really good point about the strip clubs. Like, if this was about his temptations, why didn't he target, strip clubs? And the fact that he knew exactly where he wanted to go. And the good news is they stopped him in time, because there was reports that he was going to continue shooting. So to the police, for them to stop and actually assess the situation and get him off the streets was really important as well. But we have to acknowledge this is a racial moment, that he was targeting certain people at a certain time and at certain places. And I think when the officers did talk about this whole situation, it really deteriorated what really is important for people to understand what was happening with this guy. And just the way, I just can't get over the fact that we're talking about his diabetes, that he was having a bad day, like all of it. That's not what we should be talking about, is what it's actually happened and the victims. That's what we should be focusing on. But this is a troublesome situation, and I'm just exhausted. I don't understand why this is continuing and needs to stop.
Yeah. Hopefully we don't see Jay Baker in front of a microphone again.
I'm going to throw it out to you.
Yeah. I mean, like all everything that they've said, like, I've seen on the news, just like with the what do you call him, like the head chief, that police officer who was,
I don't know whether he was the head chief.
I don't know.
He was a spokesperson.
Oh, spokesperson. Yeah. Yeah, he should be fired, right? He shouldn't have his job. Like, if you have that kind of like perspective on people, on like, like criminals like that. And let's go back to, for example, like
You think he should be fired?
Yeah, because I don't think he should, if he's not qualified to speak about, to understand the gravity of this man's actions, then he shouldn't be in a position that he is in with that much power, if he can't see crime and behavior for what they are. What else? There was Lucy Liu, right? So, seeing her like talk about her experiences, was good to hear. Like, like she's very successful and accomplished woman, and yet she has to go through that kind of demeaning, derogatory racism as well in her life. And just the fact that, like, like people are sorry, Asians across all ethnic groups are being attacked, was also telling, right? It shows that, like, it's just a broad, everyone's Asian, so you're Asian, and then people, we all fall under that umbrella. Another point that was raised was like the words that Trump used. People, what white supremacists, they don't see the gravity behind the words that are used.
They don't see the gravity? You feel they don't see it?
As much as they should, but
I think they see it okay.
Okay, yeah.
This is my opinion. Like, that's your people.
Right.
Me, I think they see it okay.
Right. No, I see what you mean. Yeah, because they know what they're doing and they do it. Yeah, and going back to the shooting, that Atlanta shooting, like, I think the main thing is that, people, there's still people who are not calling it as a hate crime, as race-based attack. Yeah, which is ridiculous. You were a customer at these places, like, you frequent these are the pieces, the people that you feel wronged you, right? Sorry, go ahead, Jay.
I wasn't saying anything. I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm listening to what your comments are and what you think.
Yeah, you know, like I know it's not the same, but you know, like how you used to say that, like when you see a black man or black woman killed, um, it's like a brother to you, a brother or sister or someone in your family. You feel it like that, right? So in a sense, like I don't know, I can't say that I have the same feeling, but you know, when I see someone like that woman, that grandmother who got hit or attacked
Yeah.
in New York,
She's the only one that fought back.
I was like, yeah, I was like,
did you hear about it?
right.
She put him in hospital, and I was like, yes.
right. He was on the stretcher.
She got a
Yeah.
piece of wood, because she had that wood in her hand. The police had to calm her down, because I mean, she was hurt. She was absolutely distraught and hurt physically in every way. But she stood her ground.
Yeah.
She kicked his ass, and well deserved, right? He's looking for a lot.
Yeah.
You saw it. You saw. I mean, I didn't show the video because it's horrible to see.
Oh my God. Oh, there's a video of her.
There
of
is
the
a
actual
video of him pushing her. I don't think it's an actual video of her hitting him, but there's a video of him actually pushing her, and she's, you know, she's terrified to come out and stuff.
When I saw her speaking, if I was like, that's like literally my mom or my, like, I just felt like because she spoke, I think she was speaking Cantonese actually. So, and I speak Cantonese. So I was like, oh my gosh, that she just feels like a family to me, you know, like, so like for you, I can't imagine, you know, like to see that every single day and like for so long, for your whole life.
Yeah, I know.
It makes me angry too, you know, like like,
of course,
what the hell? Why are you?
Of course, yeah, but I mean, I'm gonna be devil's advocate, and all this that's going on, it was provoked, it was put there,
right?
You know, but again, let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been there.
Yeah,
it's always been there, but we came before you, and that's what most of it was. The target was mainly us, and Asian people don't have our backs. And let's be real about it. Okay, so let's be real about it. I do not condone any kind of violence, and especially what's going on with it. I don't condone it whatsoever. But we're going to have a look at other videos where so I'm going to play devil advocate a bit, and please remember this: I do not condone any of this whatsoever, because for me, it's the same thing as what they're doing to us.
Yep.
So play. I want to. There's a few people. There are some Black people that speak out about the Oh, sorry. Sorry. So there's some things that happen regarding this. There's a lot of people targeting, saying Black people are cause of it, and it ain't. People are saying, some people are saying that they're doing this because they want to, because Biden is writing a what is it? Is executing? What is it? Is execute a law against this? Well, we don't have anything for us. There's nothing. There's never been anything for Black people. So Black people are saying that. Some Black people are saying that they're saying that Black people are doing it too. Jennifer Lee, who didn't want to come on, we invited her, she's not responded to you, right? She's one of the people, and also Jeannie Mai, also one of the people that have mentioned that Black people and the community and all this thing. But what you need to understand, things that have been happening before this between Asian, and I'm not saying it's all people from China or people from Korea, but things that have been happening between the Black community and the Asian community. The Asian community moves into the Black community, and the Black community is buying from their stores, right? So you have to look at I mean, and let me just say that Asian communities have, some people from the Asian community have been, or a lot of people from the Asian community have been supporting Black Lives Matter. Right, let me get that straight, and you're here because of it, right? So, but there are quite a lot of Asians that look down on Black people, and you know that, right? We had a discussion where you were saying to me it was only older people, and I said to you, no, it's not, right? I gave examples, and it, because it absolutely is not. It is it's not. And a lot of the facts for Black white Asian people is what they're based on education from white people, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's go and have a look at what's been said. There was the apology from that Asian American media with the yellow square, and for me, they basically stole the blackout, what the Black Lives Matter did, and also
Yeah, that's true.
Asian people aren't yellow. That's a term that was created for Asian people by white people. That is ridiculous. Do I have anything?
Yeah.
Do I have anything? Oh, we've talked about this before. What do you mean?
Yeah.
You know,
I look more.
how are you gonna?
I look more like duct tape.
Right? Exactly. Right. Well, I mean, you know, I haven't got anything like. Oh, I do. I mean, who looks like this? Who the hell looks like this, my little kid? Who looks like this?
Right.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's all that needs to be said. You know, it's just that like taking it right from Black Lives Matter movement, and also just regurgitating white people's.
Yeah, but again, stealing from us is like what white people do too, and then to steal that.
Yeah.
Right. So let's have a look at I think we've got about 2 minutes. We can just take a quick look at what was said regarding that.
3, 2, 1.
An Asian American media company apologized after receiving backlash from posting a yellow square to show support for the Asian community in light of the Atlanta area shootings. 8 people were killed in 3 shootings in the Atlanta metro area Tuesday night. 6 of the victims were Asian women. The suspect, identified by authorities as 21-year-old Robert Aaron Long, was arrested and charged in connection with the shooting earlier Wednesday. The shooting spurred support for the Asian American Pacific Islander (AAPI) community, as people, including prominent Democrats, condemned the violence that took place. Members of the Asian community also spoke out against the violence, calling out an increased number of hate incidents targeting Asian Americans. American mass media and talent management company, 88 Rising, also added their voices to the mix with a controversial post on their Instagram depicting a single neon yellow square. Enough is enough. Heartbroken with the disgusting and senseless violence in Georgia tonight, the caption of the now deleted post read, "Violence against the Asian community has to stop. Let's protect each other and stand against hate." The post backfired, as some compared the post to when posts of Blackout Tuesday, black squares pervaded the social media platform amid the Black Lives Matter protests last summer, but instead with the color yellow, which has been stereotypically used to represent Asian skin tones. Not 88 Rising co-opting something which the folks at the center of the original movement, Black people, explicitly said wasn't helpful, one user wrote on Twitter. When I saw people tweeting about big accounts posting yellow squares, I thought they had to be joking. And yet 88 Rising actually did it, another user tweeted. Following the backlash, 88 Rising amended the caption addressing the criticism, later deleting the post and issuing an apology in its stead. "Thank you to our community for sharing your comments and critiques with us," the music label wrote in the post. "It was never our intention to cause harm, but we recognize the effects of our actions and apologize. We are not trying to start a yellow square movement, though we understand how it was misinterpreted," the company continued. "We are heartbroken and wanted to share our thoughts on the horrific violence in Georgia and to decry the racism against the Asian community." Representatives from 88 Rising did not immediately respond to insiders' request for comment.
Wonder what was misinterpreted.
Right. There ain't nothing misinterpreted. You just try to get
right. Exactly. Yeah.
The fast one, and you got caught, and you can't.
Exactly.
You can't even tell the truth. Nonsense.
Yeah.
Nonsense. I wanted to skip it. I wanted to skip it to a few things. But I want to be real about this, right? I feel for the Asian community and what is going on. I feel that banding together as Asians and blacks and
people of color
and people of color, right? This makes us stronger. But when you decide to take the side of the people, the oppressors, right? Even white people join, right? There's going to be more of us than there is of the people that hate us,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what I don't understand is why Asians and other people of color jump on the bandwagon with racists. A lot of them do.
Yeah. What are some of those behaviors that you see?
Well, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Because you talk about your mom who doesn't like, she has her opinions.
Well, yeah. Probably like, yeah, undertones. Yeah, I guess like probably just like derogatory comments that they make. I mean, a lot of it is just not like staying silent or not taking any stance against, racism, and saying racist things.
Mm-hmm.
So
there was one thing I couldn't find the video. I don't know if I have it, where they were saying Asian people were saying, some of the Asian people were saying that these people who are attacking them, or some people saying that Asian people are not a non-factor, but because you're kind of seen but not really heard, and you're very quiet and keep to your community and to yourself, that they don't look at you as, I can't think, do you know what I'm trying to say? I can't think of the word that they use.
Yeah. I think I know what you mean. Is it because I think, remember Lucy Liu was saying that like people saw her as subservient when she poured the water?
No, it's not that. It's not that. It's not subservient. It's something else.
I think you're trying to say that like people see, I guess, Asians as they don't, not as powerful, I guess.
No,
when
we aren't powerful. They're just as powerful either, right? So it's not. I can't think of the word. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I wish I could.
That's okay.
But
so explain the situation again. The context.
It's not that you're subservient. It's not powerful. It's the way that you're not nothing, but it doesn't matter in a sense because you guys don't say anything. And don't react to other things that's happening to the Black community.
Right.
It was something like that, and I tended to
passive.
Well, it's passive, but they use another word as well.
Apathetic.
Say it again.
Apathetic.
No, there wasn't that word. No. I can't think of the word. I'm sorry, but it's more close to passive, and didn't fight back.
Insensitive.
We were insensitive. I can't think of the word. I'm sorry. You're not going to say it's a. I'm sorry. But
okay.
Anyway, it was something
I like
that.
this though. I like this challenge.
And,
yeah.
And I remember when Black Lives Matter was in, when we had the march in Japan.
Yeah.
What Japanese people were saying, and of course, all Asian people, but even Korean people were saying also that, and some Chinese people were saying also, I remember what China did to people in China did to those African people. They kicked them out of the hut, and how they treated them. Do you understand? what I'm talking about? And what they said about it's not affecting us. It's in America.
Right? Who said that?
Japan, some Japanese people.
Okay.
And some Korean people online. They were like, why? What is it? Why do we have Black Lives Matter here? It doesn't affect us.
Right.
So I wonder how they feel. It's in America. How do they feel about that? I would wonder. I mean, you're not one of them, of course, but I'm wondering how do they feel about that? It's not affecting you because in America. Is that do you feel the same way?
Yeah, that's just a ridiculous. That's their moral judgment is skewed.
Right. There's lots of things where you've had not necessarily people from the Asian community, and unfortunately they're grouped together. Korean particularly, or Taiwanese. Is it Taiwanese or no? Not
Thai.
No. Not Thai.
Vietnamese. Cambodian.
Vietnamese, right? Vietnamese, where they will have the nail industry and the hair, Black hair and beauty, how they view Black people, and they come into the community, and
Yeah.
how in England it's people from India or people from Middle East that have these shops, right? And how they talk to us, and how but we're the people that bring in the money in, and how they right. And there were instances where they were beating up black women, stuff like that. So there are some black people that are like, not saying that they wish all this happens, but they're like saying, you know, but because you're taking the side of the white people, and the reason that you treat us the way you do is because you think that you're higher than we are. Right.
I wish I wish I could take you to some of the places back in Toronto. There's a lot of like Chinese communities and mall, a lot of Chinese malls, like just the whole mall is just like Chinese businesses, but also mixed with like black businesses as well, right? So it's just really interesting to see like that, you know, these
I've been to
community
Toronto.
cues are cool.
Yeah, I've been to Toronto, but my friend was white and she didn't take me there.
Yeah. Right? There's like some really like just strong black and Chinese communities that are like really mixed together. So like everything that you're talking about, all these like power that relationships and like mistreatment of black people, like I totally see it, like, you know, like in those places. So it's not just things that I totally agree with you. Yeah.
Right. I want us to jump to through to, because you know they were saying they're trying to blame black people for these assaults on yes. There's one assault that I know of, and it might be a handful, but I know one where the person was actually mentally ill, a black person, right? And they tried to say, and remember that girl Jennifer Lee, but we read her, and you actually tried to contact her so she can have a say, that we can talk about it. And also Jeannie Mai also mentioned it. Jeannie Mai is from The Real. She talked about it, and I was like, well, what are you talking about? And she goes, there's black people in, you know, we're in black communities, and then black communities come to and I'm like, that, no, in America that doesn't happen. Let's be real about that. Right? You come to the black community and you open your store and make the billions from the black community, but you don't you go to the equals, you see them as lower than you. Right? So let's be real about it, right? And it's not predominantly black people that are attacking Asians, it's white people. So why are you saying this? You know, let's jump down and watch the ABC Tonight Nightline.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to talk about the Amber Ruffin, which is basically how I feel and what she's saying. But let's take a look at that one first.
Okay. All right, one.
There was a clip that was released by ABC, and this particular story is going along on the propaganda that's out here. Now, the propaganda is saying black people just run around all over the country just attacking Asian people. First and foremost, most black folks don't even see Asian people like that. Asian people live in their own communities. I know this. Most of us know this. They live in their own communities. And if you do see Asian people, it's because they are in our neighborhoods, not their own, and they are businesses, whatever that may be. That's really the most interaction that black folks have with Asian people on a good day. We don't see them. We don't live around them for the most part. We really don't. But yet they have started this propaganda based off of isolated incident that happened, or incidents from mentally ill people. One thing that we should get very upset about is any person saying that we are responsible for any other random black person that could be committing some sort of crime. Why are we responsible for that? Why all black people need to discuss this? For what? All black people have nothing to do with it. But this propaganda has been ratcheting it up. And just like I said in a previous video, last time Obama was in office, all of a sudden all these black people run around just doing a quote-unquote knockout game. Like, what is a knockout game? That was a media propaganda trying to, once again, criminalize against black people. You remember that? That was during Obama. Now, during the time of Trump, oh, Trump every day, oh, he's so horrible. Oh, this Trump. Oh, yeah, black people, you know, look what happens to black people. Oh, that old Trump. And now the moment Trump gets out and Jim Crow Joe gets in, they go right back to attacking black people. Now they're using isolated incidents that has happened. None of them have actually been proven to be hate crimes, but the media is lying and saying this is hate crimes, this is targeting, this is this and that and the third. Now, prior to the ratcheting up of that, Jim Crow Joe signed a executive order talking about Asians and hate crimes against Asians. Now, I remember in Oregon, and I covered this story on our African Diaspora News Insider channel, that they had gave set-asides to black people and black businesses so to help them during the time of COVID. What ended up happening? People started to sue the Oregon state government because they said it's wrong for only black people to have a certain amount of money, right? So I really believe that what black people need to do, and those of you black people who are in those areas, Washington, D.C., some of you who's right there, you need to file a lawsuit. You need to file a lawsuit against the Biden administration for discrimination. Because if he can't put out an executive order to protect black people from hate crimes, in which statistically we suffer more hate crimes than any other group, and that is proven by all of the statistics that's out from the FBI to any kind of other law enforcement, you can't put one out for black people, but you're gonna put one out for this group. And then why is it that you're weaponizing this group? Why? But I want to show you what ABC has put out. We caught this clip, and I want you to watch it, and I want you to tell me what you really think when you see what they put together. Let's go ahead and roll a clip.
In what ways have blacks been pitted against Asians?
We need the black community to realize that
Why is he talking?
that black people are hurting Asians, and they need to speak out in their own community.
Our communities are not reporting these incidences. We don't want to cause more trouble, more attention to our community.
It strikes me that this is the Asian equivalent of the talk that African American parents often have to have with their children.
Now, the first issue that I have with this, the first part of that clip comes from 1992.
Did you hear that?
On the Korean man shooting, 1992, not 2021, okay? He wasn't even shooting at black people. Do you know that? He wasn't shooting at black people in that clip. Not at all. He was shooting at looters, and the looters at the time was not even black that he was shooting at. But yet they put this in this clip. You have this other Asian woman with her zaddy sitting there talking about, oh, black people just attacking Asians. And, you know, oh, black people need to talk about this in their communities. Talk about what? It's not happening. I know black people in many black communities. They don't even interact and see Asian people like that. So what the hell are you talking about? Then a lady from ABC News, Juju Chang, she got her zaddy too. We had posted that on Twitter. So I said, oh, makes sense. You know, because now let me tell you something. You know, a lot of times people are real hard on sisters that got zaddies and everything. But, you know, people like Miss Chang here, they got more zaddies than black women could ever have. Matter of fact, they marry outside of their race more than any other group. They do that. Asian women, they marry outside their race more than any other group. I mean, black women don't have zaddies like they do. But we all know there is an anti-black sentiment in their communities. We know this is black people. We get it. Now, is all of them that way? I've never said that. I never will indict all of them. But unfortunately, in this piece, it leads the listener to believe, oh my God, all these black people attacking Asian people? Oh man, they targeting them. And we sit up there like, what? I mean, it's so vague. It's not specific at all. And then they put this together, and then you talking about a talk. What talk are you talking about? So those of you who maybe not know fully what they're talking about, black people have to talk to their children about the race soldiers trying to survive an encounter with a race soldier so they don't kill your child. So your child don't become the next George Floyd, or your child don't become the next Breonna Taylor, or your child don't become the next Sandra Bland or Corinne Gaines or Sam DuBose. I can just keep naming people. We have to have that kind of talk because our children in this country are under threat. Now, you mean to tell me you're saying ABC News that Asian people have to have a talk with their children because random black people is putting their knee on Asian people's necks? Is that happening? Or random black people just going out there shooting an Asian person 17 times in the back? That's the kind of talk. And you say, oh, well, we don't talk about these incidents because they're not happening. That's why you're not talking about them, because good and well if they were happening, you would be talking about it. But what they're doing is, this is what they're doing. They're weaponizing this in the media because we just saw that California and New York is coming up with, some legislation talking about to protect Asian people. Now, all the hate crimes that's been happening to black people all during, all these years, these so-called Democrat states, and notice that's the ones that are leading it right now, California and New York, supposedly Democrat, supposedly, they black people's friends. They're not racist like the Trump and them people are, and yet they're doing things more sinister. Because I'm sorry, during Trump, we didn't see this. We didn't see it. Now you're dealing with that other side of white supremacy. That one, I told you, that other side is more sinister. I'd rather deal with the MAGA racism. Give me that all day long because I see how that coming directly at me. That's old school white supremacy. I'm good with that. But that old sinister white supremacy on that other side, that's the one. Think about it. Who one came up with the 3 strike laws? It was that Democrat side. Who led and crafted the 94 crime bill? Jim Crow Joe. Think about that. Who started all the knockout game propaganda? It was them under Obama. Pay attention to that.
Okay, so this is where what I'm talking about comes from. To say that, to turn around and say you got to give the kids a talk, right? Please don't do that. Please don't make light of what black people have to do when they talk to the kids about the police and how they address the police because they're 5. Do not do that.
Yeah, I've never had.
He sat down there. The zaddy is a white man. If you haven't, when you date, because I guess I've got a zaddy too, but I don't think I've got a zaddy because I'm.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. Right. But anyway, the white guy. Why are you speaking?
Right.
Why are you speaking? And the woman sitting there going. Right? Why are you speaking? Please be quiet. It's not about you, right? And this is what I don't like when you date outside your, because if I'm here and I'm talking about me and Darryl opened his mouth, I've been looking at him like going, right? And he won't dare. But if he does dare, I'm just going. This ain't not your experience, it's mine. So he said to me, he said to me the other day, all the Asian people getting, and I went, what? And I don't wait a second. I said, well, Darryl, I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel bad for them, but I've never heard you say all the black people getting hurt. And it's been an ongoing thing, right? So I have to school him on shit, and I'm like, no, I'm not saying that you can't say it for them, but you need to continue to say it for us, say it for all of us,
right?
Because we're in it too, and we've been in it.
Just like the executive orders from Jim Crow.
We ain't got none. We ain't got no executive orders. What do they call him? Jim Crow.
Jim Crow Joe. Jim Crow Joe.
Say it again.
Jim Crow. Oh, okay. Yeah, Jim Crow Joe. Jim Crow Joe.
But I said to you, I've always felt this way about Democrats, and I think they're the worst people because even the ones that said it outside of Black people, they act like they know what we feel and try to tell us how we should feel. I'm telling you this. How much would have been that Sharon Osbourne is a Democrat? I'm telling you, these people, they're the worst. And what he said, when it's in your face, right? I don't want Trump in power.
Yeah.
He's a tyrant. I really think, right? But I understand what he's saying. At least you know it's going to tell you what he's going to do. But with the Democrats, they ain't telling you nothing.
Yeah, I think the guy was saying like what sinister white supremacy.
Right? So it's like England, right? England's sinister. And Americans are like Trump. In
Straight
your
up.
face.
Yeah.
Let you know shit, right? But England, it's like it's all under the covers, right? All undercover shit, right?
Yeah.
So I understand.
Interesting point.
And this is what I'm saying. Some Black people, we don't feel any way about Asians. Asian feels a way about us. We don't look at you like that. We look at you like our people, but you don't look at us like that. A lot of you don't look at us like that. A lot of you don't date us, don't want us, don't want to talk to us, don't want to live next door to us, don't want to be around us. I knew 2 Asian people when I was growing up. One was a guy I went to school with, and he's better than me. And one was a guy that just loved. I think we talked about him before. His name was China. He just loved being in the black environment, the black music, the black.
Yeah.
And he was just. I don't know what happened to him, but he was just. I didn't grow up with him. I just saw him after I finished school, and he was just with the black guys and with his friends, and he had a good job and everything too, and so that was one. But Indian people, yes, I grew up around them. I grew up around Indian people. Right? But I'm not to say that they were racist too. I mean, not the ones that I grew up around, because we were family. We grew up as a family.
Yeah.
But anyway, again, it's not to take away from what's happening to Asian people. And the video on this that I want you to play with
Amber Ruffin.
Yeah, I'd like you to play that one, please, because it says everything about what I feel. And I will also comment on it after we finish.
Earlier this week, a gunman murdered 8 people, including 6 Asian women, in a hate crime in Atlanta. Our hearts go out to the families and communities affected by this violence. No one should have to experience the pain they are going through. And this event didn't come out of nowhere. How did we get here? Let's find out in a segment called How Did We Get Here? America has a long and well-documented history of anti-Asian racism, but during the coronavirus pandemic, violent attacks against Asian Americans have increased by 150%. Asian Americans have reported street harassment, attacks on their elders, and vandalism of their businesses. One asshole in Texas graffitied a ramen shop. Do you know how stupid and racist you have to be to get mad at soup? Especially when that soup is delicious? Get a grip, racists. Now, it's really impossible, Trump, to say, Trump, why something like that, Trump, would happen. But I do know that anti-Asian violence spiked after Trump and other Republicans started referring to the coronavirus as the China virus and other racist terms. And it doesn't surprise me that this kind of rhetoric would lead to an increase in violence, partly because I have the common sense God gave a housefly, and partly because America has a long, violent history of scapegoating Asian people, which I, a comedian, will now try to tell you about in the 5 minutes I have between commercials, because the American school system has failed us all. Anti-Asian racism in the U.S. falls into a weird duality. On one hand, there's the model minority myth. Well-off and middle-class Asians are seen as the good, successful minorities. Their success is so-called proof that racism doesn't exist and that other minorities just aren't working as hard. But also, their success is not fair because they're keeping good white kids with a B- average out of Harvard by using the totally dishonest trick of having better grades. Now, it's the dumbest, whitest thing to have a theory that proves your country isn't racist, that is actually a hierarchy of races. Obviously, not all Asian Americans are well-off Harvard students, and that's where the double-sided trap of anti-Asian racism comes in. On the one hand, you've got the model minority myth, and on the other, the yellow peril myth. the myth that Asian people are somehow a threat to the Western world. Since the first working class Asian immigrants arrived in the US, they've been seen as disposable labor. In the 1860s, Chinese immigrants arrived to build the Transcontinental Railroad for 1/3 of the pay of white workers. Well, Chinese men did. Chinese women weren't allowed to immigrate because, and I wish I was making this up, they didn't want Chinese people to fall in love here, get married, and stay. What kind of evil empire tries to outlaw love? That is some Darth Vader Death Star shit. Asian workers have been the targets of violence and lynchings throughout history. In 1871, during the Chinese massacre, 10% of LA's Chinese residents were killed. In 1885, in Rock Springs, Wyoming, 28 Chinese coal miners were murdered, and the city's Chinatown was burned down. Oh, and fun fact, at the time, it was illegal for an Asian person to testify in court against a white person. I know that wasn't an actual fun fact, but it's the closest we're going to get in this segment. In 1900, one Asian person was suspected of having the plague, and the city of San Francisco put up barbed wire and literally quarantined the entire Chinese population in Chinatown, while in other areas, people just burned Chinese neighborhoods down. I told you these facts would not be fun, but they are plentiful. In 1882, the U.S. passed the Chinese Exclusion Act, the first time the country barred people from immigration based on race, but not the last time, because if there's one thing America loves to do, it's keep people out. We're like the bouncer of countries. During World War II, the United States imprisoned Japanese people, including children, because they thought they might be loyal to the Japanese government. Which is funny because when I think of groups who aren't loyal to the U.S. government, that's not who I think of. What I'm trying to say is Donald Trump is an asshole, but he's not an inventor. He ain't done nothing new. He simply tapped into America's long, violent history of dehumanizing Asian Americans. Now, there's been a lot of talk this week about what we should all do in the wake of violence in Atlanta, but I'd like to talk for a minute about what we're not going to do. What we're not going to do is disrespect the lives that were lost this week by acting like words don't matter. What we're not going to do is act like Asian hate doesn't run deep in this country. America does not get to hide from its racist past or present. And what we're not going to do is act like white supremacy isn't at the root of all this. Contrary to everything this country was built on, white men don't get to decide who lives and who dies. White people don't get to decide our humanity. Dismantling white supremacy starts with white people admitting they have a big problem. And Black people will continue to stand in solidarity with our Asian family because white supremacy is killing us, all of us. I remember last summer when people from all over were protesting and saying, protect Black women, Black Lives Matter. Seeing that felt really great. And I want that feeling for you. So just to be extra explicit, we hate this. It's not right. Your feelings are valid. You deserve to feel safe. You deserve to be safe. We love you. This has been How Did We Get Here?
That's what I wanted to say. My eyes full of water because we're going for it too.
Yeah, I could even see at the end, she was feeling that.
But I feel the same way. I feel the same way with everything that I said. Everything that I've said is because of what we feel. But what you're going through, we've been going through it.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's it's a white supremacy. White supremacy.
Right.
It doesn't make sense that you want to take sides with them.
Yeah, it's like
Do you understand?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that some of the things there were new to you, right? What you were saying of the history, because they don't teach it.
Yeah.
They don't teach it in Canada. They don't teach it because it's the truth.
They don't.
Right?
I didn't learn anything. Yeah.
They don't. They hide these shit. They hide their dirt. They hide their dirt.
Yep. I did not learn one drop of any kind of Asian history in Canada. Yeah, when there's like swaths of communities like who have immigrated and literally played such an important role in building the country. right? But you don't hear it. Yeah, same thing with Black people. You don't hear that history of how they built the country and what they've contributed.
Yeah, how we built the country, what we contributed, but you don't hear about our history before slavery.
Right. The pay differences,
Right.
the
difference because you at least you guys have that because you still have your own countries where it's not being stolen and it's not being interrupted. It's not being. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Where they've taken your heritage, right? And so you still have that, but we don't. Not even a lot of people who live in the continent of Africa have that because still Europe still owns part of Africa, a big part.
Yeah, and especially even like the UK still has colonies, all over. So.
So let's. I want us to jump down to the privilege of it all, and then we're going to do the last thing, which I need to do: the Sister's Guide to Racial Nonsense. Okay, we'll do the other two next time.
One second.
Yeah, we're going to talk about more white supremacy people and the privilege. They think they can say whatever the hell they want.
Oh yeah, I loaded this.
That dumb announcer got his ass fired because privilege and his arrogance, the arrogance of his ignorance.
Okay. Yeah.
So what is your what's the number? I think it's
Can you turn it up?
7-ish, 6 to 7, probably 7.
See, we have ours, and I'm going to get into trouble for this.
2 o'clock.
I have them to the attractiveness of women that I find to be attractive. So I will never go to a Serena Williams level, but I'm very comfortable with, I'm very comfortable at a Halle Berry level.
Okay.
I need a little bit of mulatto still coming through. It can't be,
is Gayle King that's not in your realm?
No, Gayle King is not even on my toaster level.
So this man, the privilege of it all, thinks that we don't even want you. You probably look like a dusty Armo, right? So
burnt toast.
He's talking about what makes you think that we want you, right? He's using mulatto, which no one uses anymore. It's a derogatory term for someone that's mixed. He was fired.
Really? Oh, he was fired? Okay.
He was fired. His ass was fired. The privilege, the privilege of it all. He feels that they can say whatever they want because
right.
It's still slavery, and you can choose whatever black woman.
Yeah.
And let's remind him that Halle Berry isn't. I can't say
burnt toast or something.
Why are you laughing when you were burnt toast?
Pardon?
Why are you saying burnt toast and laughing?
No, because they were saying they were likening like what Serena's Williams skin to like burnt toast, right? They were talking about toast.
Yeah. So why are you laughing?
I wasn't. I mean, like I thought that was ridiculous. That's why.
Okay. I don't find it funny in the slightest. Right? It's not something that I wouldn't laugh at. Can't find it ridiculous. I find it racist. You think that you can come out and say whatever you want about black women, right? That we look like burnt toast. Excuse you? And what do you look like? There isn't even a color to identify you with. So how do you feel that you have that opportunity or the right to sit there and think that you can pick us? Beauty is absolutely in the eye of the beholder, but you don't get to talk. That's why your ass got fired. Comparing black women to the tone of toast is what he was doing. And again, I don't even know his damn name.
They don't show the name.
Arena host fired after racist comments comparing toast to black women's skin tones. Right? Halle Berry is biracial. Right? We don't say mulatto. That was a racist term.
Mulatto.
We don't say. I just said we don't say mulatto. Okay. You got mulatto. We don't say. We don't say that. Just like we don't say half caste, just like we don't say half class, because these are all derogatory terms.
I actually never heard of that term.
Okay, look it up. Well,
Yeah.
take a memo and look it up.
Yeah.
Right. So this is, it is what it is. The privilege of it. Or when you have privilege, right? When you have privilege, and full with arrogance and entitlement, this is how you act. Piece of nothing, virus, scum, filth. Anyway, I don't need nobody to validate me. Listen, I could be as burnt can be. I'm Black and I'm beautiful and I love my melanin, right? And that, let me just tell you that. I love me. I love me. I don't need you to validate me. I love me. I love me. We come in all colors. We even come in duct tape color too.
Right.
And we're all beautiful. We're all beautiful, right? We don't need you to validate it. Who the hell are you? All right. So the Sister's Guide to Racial Nonsense. This is Dr. Shola. And I want to let's just end with this.
Microaggressions are racist statements or actions that underpin the inferiority complex and irrational fear that some people have towards Black people and ethnic minorities. Here are some tips on what to say when you come across them at school, in your workplace, or even in the boardroom. Example 1. A good response to this is to say, your proximity to Black people does not give you a license to say or do something racist, and then put a smile on it. Example 2, I say flip the question and make them uncomfortable. Ask them what it is about your first answer that did not satisfy their question. And even go further and ask them where they're really from. And if they think that being white suffices for being British or American, tell them they don't know their history. Example 3, I say this. That is a racist statement to suggest that Black people and ethnic minorities have an unfair advantage and are stealing jobs from qualified white people. The trope against Black women as angry, aggressive, hostile, threatening, and dominant is rooted in the legacy of slavery to demean, dehumanize, and silence Black women. It still happens today in every position a Black woman holds. Yes, in schools, workplace, and in the media. When we are passionate, we're called angry. We're passionate and vocal. We're called aggressive. We have a difference of opinion. We're threatening. They put all this together and call us dominant. They even try to police tone our body language. A Black woman with an opinion is not a threat. A Black woman who stands up for herself is not a threat. If you lack the ability to hold your own in a debate or discussion with a Black woman, it doesn't mean you're being bullied. So stop projecting your insecurities and assigning negative stereotypes on Black women. Black women are not going to conform or compromise who we are. It is not the job of Black women to fix your irrational fear of us. Listen and learn. Playing the race card is an overtly racist and insidious phrase used to stigmatize Black people and ethnic minorities into silence. It whitewashes systemic racism and trivializes lived experiences of discrimination. We are expected to internalize racism, ignore the erosion of our dignity, and the attempt to relegate us to third-class citizens. Say it with me. Oh, hell no.
Hell no.
Racists complain that Black people get an advantage of special treatment from racism. What? Confronting racism is not an advantage, it's our right, be it in schools, workplace, and in every aspect of society. Fighting hair discrimination, stopping police brutality, protesting systemic racism, none of this is playing the race card. Freedom of speech doesn't give the right to stigmatize Black people. The only race card played in recent human history is the white race card, and it's played with a full deck.
There you
Listen
go.
and learn, and let's all end racism. Yes, let's end the strong Black woman stereotype. This centuries-old trope that Black women don't experience pain like white women positions Black women as women of hardship, more durable to pain and suffering than white women. What utter nonsense! Here's why. This racist trope is rooted in the dehumanization of the female Black identity, a direct legacy of slavery. So whether it's the inhumane medical treatment of the enslaved Miss Westcott, or this 2017 nursing book full of racist tropes about the pain thresholds of Black and ethnic minorities. This is systemic racism in action. It also contributes to the high rate of Black maternal and pregnancy-related deaths. This racist trope is to silence our pain, so let me tell you this. Yes, I'm a strong Black woman, an affirmation of an enduring strength that is human, humane, and humbling, not an invitation to pile on the oppression. We bleed and cry too. Some white people acting all oppressed because we call out their white privilege and then they deny they have such privilege cracks me the heck up. Let's nip this ignorance in the bud. White privilege is a product of systemic racism. Racism is a power construct created by white people to deny Black people an equal value of life and liberty to feed their inferiority complex, otherwise known as white supremacy. I'm talking politically, socially, culturally, economically, overtly, and covertly. It means white people will always be insulated by biased media, never experience racial, police brutality, or work or school discrimination based on their race. Yes, it means when they walk into that store with a Black or brown person, the security will follow the Black or brown person. White privilege simply means you will never be disadvantaged because of the color of your skin. It has jack all to do with you being white working class, working 70 hours a week, or living in a council flat or in a project. Listen and learn.
There you are. And there you are. Thank you, Dr. Shola. I don't need to say anything. There's nothing
Dr. Shola.
There's nothing I need to say, Dr. Shola. There's nothing
Yeah.
I need to say because she said it all.
I like like when people ask you where are you from.
I like it.
I like her response.
Because you know what? They give you the race card you see online all the time. I need to play the race card. Right? Like, yeah, I'll play it if you like. Because you're always playing yours, right? So no, because they do that to shut, like you said, they say you stop playing the race card. They do it to shut you down, to make you feel that you're wrong, to make you to start looking inside yourself and feeling insecure. I won't do it, not anymore. I won't do it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Shola. I wanted to share this with all the Black women and all the minority women and people of color. This isn't just for us, it's also for you guys too.
This is gonna be my logo, my personal logo, simple.
That's darker than you.
Yeah, I know, but it's the only thing I got. It is darker than me, actually. Yeah, a lot darker.
What are you talking about, man?
Right.
Before we go, did you hear about? I have to talk about this before we go. This is just a few minutes. Justin Bieber's new song album. He's using Martin Luther King.
Oh, recordings, really?
To talk about his woman. To talk about a white woman.
Oh my God.
And Black people ain't having it.
Oh my God.
What I wrote,
oh, shit.
I was on Facebook was like, I blame those Black famous music moguls who keep bringing these white people in and our shit.
Right.
And then what they think they can do is they believe that they can do is take whatever the hell they want.
Because I'm pretty sure he's making it with a team.
Yeah,
right?
Because they brought in Usher and Timberland.
Right.
All these people, I think this is who they were. This is what always happens.
Is this song supposed to be like a civil rights song?
It's about his woman.
Oh, just that?
In wife.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Right? So take this thing for. Sorry, that was Pat with me. What do you take this thing for?
Yeah.
I was like vexed. It was like he used my words and put in there. Who the hell? Who do you think?
What is this song called?
I don't know. I don't care. I'm not promoting it.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna swear. Right? I'm not promoting his thievery.
Yeah.
This is what happens almost all of the times. They steal our crap, our stuff, and what do you mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, also to blame with these music moguls who decided they want to put this, right? Oh, let's make money, we can make money from, but look what happened in the end, and it always happens.
This is my duct tape.
Another flipping coffee, man.
Yeah.
Seriously, tired of one of nonsense. Every time. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
They see that crack, and that's what happens. What I said to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So anyway.
All right, guys.
Oh, this is a long show. You know what? We have so much to talk about. We had to skip loads of things. There's so much. I thought.
There's always something. Yeah.
So much to talk about. We needed to talk about the what's going on with Asian people in America, which is like, you know.
Yeah.
There is absolutely. I can't even think of the words. I know that I can say that Amber. Ruffins, thank you. Amber Ruffin is basically said everything that I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Come together.
Yeah.
Right.
Right
so
now.
Are definitely absolutely on side that understands this. We need to come together to stop white supremacy.
Yeah, we need duct tape supremacy.
No, because that's one color. We're all different colors.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know how you're talking about.
Right.
Thank you for this in-depth and
this one was good.
Filled with different topics conversation.
This one was good.
Yeah, we talk what.
We covered most of what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, we didn't cover every topic. We just
most of it. Yeah.
No, we covered everything, all the topics. We just one topic we didn't, but we'll talk about that next time because I think it needs time. I didn't want to rush it.
Okay. Yeah, like superficially. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Okay. Cool. That means until next time. All right, Jay.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Take care. Keep safe.
All right. Peace and power. All right. Peace. See you next time. Bye bye.